24th. This auction will feature real estate, vehicles, RVs, tractors, trailers, tillage, haying equipment, skid steers, construction equipment, lumber, cattle, miscellaneous items, and much more. For a detailed list of items featured in this sale, call Alan Olson Auction today at 403-843-2747. Don't miss this huge sale. Visit AlanOlsonAuction.com.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit FurnaceFamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, FurnaceFamily.com.
Sports Radio is back.
McDavid trying to come in with speed. Here he comes. McDavid shoots top shelf. He scores. The Oilers captain with the overtime winner.
The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Jackson can't find anyone. Looking to take off and run. Bounces away. Still surveying. Still alive. Rolling and down. Caught for the touchdown. Nelson Aguilar.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The ninth, Stanix 1-1. It is thrown on a line, left field and gone! Adolis Garcia makes his statement, and the Rangers have their sights set on Game 7.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where you can, the games, casino, lotteries, your one-stop shop. Stay within your limits. PlayAlberta.ca. Also, a big shout out to everybody watching online on Oilers Nation YouTube, where the temperature in the city, despite it being cold outside. Drive safe, by the way. Intersection is a little slippery. Hopefully it'll be better on the way home. An injury to Connor McDavid, albeit arguably best case scenario, because he's only going to be out 1 to 2 weeks, not 1 or 2 months. So that's obviously much better news for the Oilers and their fans. We'll dive into it a little bit. If you watch it with McDavid, I asked Jed Roberts, of course. Jed, longtime member of the Edmonton Elks. He was hearing impaired. Didn't speak himself till he was 7, and obviously was a very good lip reader. So I asked him, because you saw in the video in the game, McDavid's talking to TD Force, and he said it looked like he kind of tore something. Now, I spoke to Jed afterwards. We're going to have Grant Fedoruk on from Leading Edge Physio, because some people, I think, when they hear tear, they think, oh my goodness, that's awful. But lots of times you can tear a muscle when you're working out. And in essence, you try to do that a little bit to build up your muscle strength. So we'll talk to Grant about how, yes, you can tear something. It doesn't always mean, oh my goodness, this is awful. There's much different levels of severity when it comes to a tear. Now, maybe it's a little slight tear in your hip flexor. Maybe it's in your back. Maybe it's an oblique. It was clear it was on the left side. Everybody saw it where McDavid was in discomfort. So no one knows 100%, and the Oilers aren't going to tell you exactly what it is, and that's fine. But this is good news, and if it's 1 or 2 weeks, people who have treated professional athletes, they can give you a better sense of what it might be based on the timeline. Right? Can you have an oblique heal that quickly? I don't know. That's why we'll ask Grant. So he will join us coming up in about 40 minutes' time. Bronte will be by. Terry Ryan, of course, here on Monday. You heard the clip from Connor Halley. It's Game 7, baby. And you should, as a hockey fan, there's only one game tonight. So you can focus everything on the major leagues of baseball, the Rangers and the Astros. There is nothing better. I don't care what sport, baby. NBA, MLB, NHL, Game 7 is awesome. WHL, AHH, any league, man. I don't care what you're playing. When it's a best of 7, it's just, it builds up, and now you're like, okay, somebody's going to the World Series and somebody's going home disappointed. And it will be much watch theater tonight. And then tomorrow, of course, the NHL, 32 games. Now, the thing I'm going to watch closely, Connor Halley, they have the scheduled start times. How many do you think are going to be on time? Because if they are, we got a real problem here. Actually, we don't have a problem. We have a solution. Because this means they can actually start games on time at the time they announce them. This could be a breakthrough. I can't wait. There's 16 games. I'm going to see how many of them are starting, because they're supposed to start at like the first one I think is Toronto and Washington at 6 our time, or 6 Eastern, right? 4 our time, and then it just goes from there. So we'll see how many, because it's at 6. And then it's 6:30, then 6:45, 7, 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45. Oilers, 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 o'clock Edmonton time. Then 9:15, 9:45, 10:30, and the late game in Vegas, yowzer, starting at 11, which I guess Eastern time. That means it's 8 o'clock Pacific time. So not terrible for the locals. So not ideal on a Tuesday, but again, not terrible. And Golden Knights fans, trust me, they're not going to be complaining. Their team is 6-0. It's a perfect start. NHL record start. In fact, no defending Stanley Cup champion has ever started a season 6-0. The Oilers, after they won the Cup in 85, went 5-0 in 85-86. But now Vegas has set a new mark. Conman, how many do you think the games will actually start there? Or if it says 6, that means they're all going to be 7 minutes later. Then it's going to be 30 and then 22 and then 37. I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Of 16 games, I would say 7 will start on time. I'm going with a low number, and
like
I'm hoping,
right at 6:45 and right at 6:30.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think some of these markets do get it, and they'll find a way to get it done. Actually, you know what? If we're going with those actual start times and they're not listed as 7:07, I'm going 0. I'm changing on the fly here. None of them will start when they say on NHL.com.
Yeah.
Because they'll go a couple minutes late. Very cool idea if they actually did it. And it's surprising me that it's taken so long to make this happen. But yeah, I got to go with 0.
Yeah. Okay. There you have it happen. Hey, boys, does Play Alberta have an over-under on games starting on time? It should be 0.5. You know what? Might have to reach out to Rick at Play Alberta. We'll find out. Hey, get that line in. Oh, my goodness. Well, actually, no. Because you'd lose you'd win every time. Play Alberta would lose. They can never win. Because it's so obvious that the games never start on time. So that would be great for us. Bad for Play Alberta. So also on the show today, we'll outline a little bit. Life without Connor McDavid. It's been a while, Oiler fans. You got to close your eyes and think back to February of 2020. When Connor McDavid was injured, he missed 6 consecutive games between his last game was February 8th, and then he returned on February 23rd. The Oilers had 6 games in between then. They went 3-2-1. They outscored teams 18-17. Is there an earthquake in the studio right now? What is happening?
I thought that was you.
No, it's not me.
We're going to see someone pull something in a couple minutes here. Someone's coming by.
It is vibrating hard. The floor, everything's shaking in here. I'm like, what is going on? You're right. Maybe they're bringing something in the entranceway, but I just don't see it yet. So, geez, I thought you and Declan were really excited about one of your fantasy teams or something over there, but no, not the case. Anyway, going back to the Oilers. They went 3-2-1. They outscored teams 18-17. And so when you want, and I'm going to break down the roster, because I'll tell you right now, the Oilers roster today is a better roster. Well, definitely up front. And I would still argue on the blue line, the goaltenders, they're going to have to pull up their socks. No question. Here are the Oilers lines. Now, remember, this line, they kept it together. Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Yamamoto. That's when they went on that heater for 27 games, right? Yamamoto came up for the minors, and they were on fire. That's really what led to Leon Draisaitl winning the Hart Trophy. He had 12 points in the 6 games without Connor McDavid. Nugent Hopkins had 9. Yamamoto had 4 goals. They scored a lot. They were the Oilers' number 1 line. Because after that, do you know who the Oilers' number 2 line was? Any guess, Connor Halley? And I base this off 5-on-5 minutes played. Their second line during that run. You want to guess?
I don't think I've got a great answer for
No,
you.
you wouldn't have a great answer. I could, most diehard Oiler fan, unless they read my article, which they probably did because they're diehards, most would never have guessed that the second line to start was Josh Archibald, Riley Sheahan, and Zach Kassian. Keep in mind, Zach Kassian was the Oilers' 5th leading goal scorer that year. He had 15 goals. James Neal was also hurt during this time. He had 19 goals in 55 games that year. He was the Oilers' 4th leading goal scorer. So it was not only just McDavid who was out. There was also Neal. Kassian played the first 2 games. Then he got suspended. Remember when he kind of stepped on Matthew Joseph, kicked, whatever term you want to use. He got I think it was a 7-game suspension. 6, 5, I can't remember the amount. But anyway, he didn't play the final 4 games. So then the second line became Tyler Benson, Riley Sheahan, and Josh Archibald for the final 4 games. Third line was Colby Cave, Jujhar Khaira, and Patrick Russell. And the fourth line was Gaetan Haas, Alex Chason, and Sam Gagner. Now, Josh Archibald scored 2 goals, including the overtime winner against Florida. So he showed up when they needed it. You need different guys to kind of show up. But what led the Oilers during that streak was their penalty kill, which was 18 for 18. They didn't allow a power play goal. And then Mike Smith started 4 games. He had a .930 save percentage. Mikko Koskinen started 2. He had a .931 save percentage. He went 1-1. Smith went 2-1-1. So the Oilers, can you win without McDavid? 100%. They can. But you know what's challenging for them is they go into a play. They're meeting their anti-Nashville tomorrow. The Oilers beat up on the Preds for fun. The Oilers lose to the Wild for fun. It's a team they can't beat them. Now, I think they've lost the last 5 straight to the Wild. But if you go back even farther, it's been pretty big domination for the Oilers by Minnesota during McDavid's time in the NHL. So I'll just crunch the numbers for you. It hasn't been pretty. The Oilers have won 6 of 21 games against the Wild since McDavid entered the NHL. They've struggled against Minnesota. They play a patient game, and they just kind of pounce and wait for your mistakes, which Edmonton has a tendency to make. And away you go. If you look at the last, dating back, the Oilers, they have lost. Actually, no, they have won 1 of the last 9 against the Wild. So we'll see. And in Minnesota, the last time they won in Minnesota was February 7th, 2019. Now, you can say they're due, but if they lose tomorrow, I don't think it's just because they don't have Connor McDavid. For whatever reason, that's a bad matchup for the Oilers, historically. Now, maybe it changes, but historically, it's been a bad matchup for the Edmonton Oilers. They will go in. I can tell you, every team, when you lose your best player, there's guys who are like, hey, we got to step up. And that's why 1 to 2 week injury, it's doable. If this was a month to 2 months, I could see there being legitimate concern. But the schedule maker has helped the Oilers. They play tomorrow after 2 days off. Then they play Thursday. Then they have 2 days off. They don't play till Sunday, Heritage Classic against Calgary. And then they have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off until Dallas is here. And it's the second half of a back-to-back for the Dallas Stars. So fatigue definitely won't be a factor at all for the Oilers. And if you look, if McDavid's only out a week, he'd miss 3 games. Some are wondering, could he be back for the Heritage Classic? I guess there's a chance. Right now, they announced it yesterday, 1 week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 7 days. So I guess in theory, he could play next Sunday. But if not, then he gets an extra 3 days off, 4 days really until the next game on Thursday on November 2nd against Dallas. So keep all that in mind. When you look at the Oilers schedule, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that terrible of a long time without McDavid. And if they can go 2-2 and he misses 4 games, That's probably a win considering they're 1-3-1 in the 5 games with him. So we'll get to that. You can always text us 833-401-1440. Also today, I'm excited about this. This is fantastic. This is the second year we've done this. It was received incredibly well last year by all of you, especially when we heard the story of the winner, which is the whole point of this contest. It's help your neighbor. Big thanks to Legacy Heating and Cooling, because they are going to provide the winner with a brand new high efficiency Goodman GM 9C 96% high efficiency 2-stage standard gas furnace. Comes with a thermostat, all the permit and the inspection fees. They'll even dispose of your old furnace, remove it for you. And it comes with 5-year labor, 10-year parts, and a lifetime heat exchange warranty on the furnace. How it works. So every day from now until Friday, November 17th, we will have a contest, and each day someone will qualify. The person who qualifies, you become the nominator. And if your name gets picked out of the draw on Monday, November 20th, you will win a pair of seats to the Oilers Wild game in Edmonton on December 8th. Okay. Also, you are going to get a Google Nest or Ecobee smart thermostat, installed courtesy of Legacy Heating in your house. Okay, so you get to go to a game, you get something in your house, but most importantly, you're going to get to surprise someone and gift them a prize. It's going to help them for a long time. I think about getting a new furnace and how long that could last. And last year, all right, it was pretty emotional for the winner. She was stalked. We call her up, we surprise her, get her on air, tell her what she's won, who gifted it to her. It's great. So the only rules are, A, the person that, if you're a nominator, you have to be 18 years of age or older. And the person that you're going to gift it to has to own their home. Okay? They have to own their home. That is, and they have to reside within 100 kilometers of Edmonton. Whether it's east, north, south, or west. Doesn't matter. So those are the rules. And then we will have the draw on the 20th. But we'll do it every day in the 4 o'clock hour. Different ways every day. Some days maybe we'll play trivia. Some days it'll just be a text and we'll pick a random lucky texter. So get your thinking cap on about someone you know who could really use a brand new furnace. If you live in your house, you can't gift it to your wife, your husband, your partner, whoever it is, okay? It's not how it works. So it has to be somebody outside of your home. Yes, it can be a sibling, but they cannot reside in the same home as you. And they have to own their house. So there you go. This is, it gets a little chilly right now. And think about somebody who's maybe got an old furnace. It's right on the fritz. This could be a game changer for them. So there you go. Coming up on the show today, we have a loaded show as always. Bronte will join us. We'll get the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Grant Fedoruk will be by. Terry Ryan, as always, from 3 to 5. Max Boltman will join us from Detroit. The Red Wings are on fire. Look at their power play. Their power play is like the Oilers. It's 39% right now. It was actually at 50. Then they went 0 for 3. Losers. No, I'm kidding. Andi Petrillo will be by. Christine Sinclair made her announcement official. How do you replace a legend like that? What does this mean moving forward for the women's national program? Speck will be by, and then Kevin Woodley in the 5 o'clock hour as we are going to crunch the numbers on goaltending, which I know a lot of you got some questions about that. As always, we'll take your text, 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. And hey, they remind you, look outside today. Be sure to winterize your vehicle. Think ahead. Get an oil change. Some of you probably waited too long to get your tires changed. Don't wait too long. Get that oil change now. Book it in at jiffylubeservice.ca. We'll return on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. It's a Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round, and you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
There's two seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
The Wolfpack is out this month at Wolf GMC Buick, and the deals on Denali's are spectacular. Every in-stock 2023 GMC Denali is on sale. Terrain, Acadia, Sierra, Yukon. If it's a Denali, it's on sale. Special 0% financing for 48 months on remaining Sierra Denali half-tons. Discounts on all Denalis. Hurry in for best selection and Denali deals that will take your breath away. The exclusive Denali sale on now.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel unpack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I feel so close to you right now. It's a
portion of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
No stopping us right now. I feel so close to you right now.
2:22 on a Monday afternoon. Drive safe. Please turn your lights on, folks. That's our reminder. Okay? Don't just get in your vehicle and think that because you have it on auto, that doesn't mean, well, hopefully you have it on auto. But some people just think, my daylight running lights are on. Yeah, at the front, not the back. Your back lights are pretty important. People need to know if you're braking or not. Okay? Just turn the lights on. They can see it's much, much better. They should know you're braking. Hopefully your brake lights work. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo of Edmonton. Trust me. Safety features, they have them all. Virtually impossible almost to have your lights off when you have a Volvo, which is nice. And right now, all 2023 models, you can get an additional $5,000 off the price. Right now at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. We welcome in Robin Brownlee, Ruben Bronte from Oilers Nation. And Rubes, It's Captain Obvious. Hey, the Oilers got to step up. Even if McDavid wasn't injured, the Oilers have to start playing better. They're 1-3-1 at this juncture. I don't think they played awful against Winnipeg. In fact, they outplayed them. They outshot them. They shot themselves in the foot again with another shorthanded goal. Another power play goal. No, shorthanded goal given up on their power play. So, that's 2 games in a row. And the odds when you give up a shorty really lower your chances of winning. I expect Jack Campbell to get the start tomorrow night. And I'm kind of curious, what would you do for lines? Do you think he just sticks with McDavid with Draisaitl with Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Janmark with Fogle, and then just slides Kane up to that top line, moves Holloway up with Brown and McLeod? Or do you think he separates and has Hyman and Kane, one of them each, with Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins?
I think I'd go with that early one you mentioned, Jason. There's enough change already with this injury. Make as few changes as possible so people aren't having to get used to new line mates on the fly. Want to say, too, before I go on, I was wondering before I read your piece, you jumped on that piece about the last time. I was thinking, okay, when was that? That was 2020. How long was it? I started looking it up, and then the piece runs on Oilers Nation. That tells you about everything you wanted to see about that club and what they did to go 3-2-1. And the thing to bring it today is this, and you touched on it. I think this club is far more capable of taking up that slack with McDavid out than the last team was. This is a better team. This is a deeper team. What they need to do is what they needed to do before he got hurt. Get the PK going, get a little bit more consistent in goal, and you're going to win some hockey games. Now they have to do it without him. I don't see it as a major problem. What are they going to go worse than one game or one win in 5 games? I don't see it. I think not that it's world beating and it's setting the bar low, but they will match this next record if he's gone for 5 games. If he's gone for 3, we'll see what it is. But this is a team that can. I look at that whole lineup, and this is a far better team.
Well, definitely up front, their goaltenders haven't been better. Mike Smith and Koskinen were excellent in that run, and their penalty kill was outstanding at 18 for 18. And so, you know what, guys just have to step up and play better. Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner got to make a few more saves. The team has to limit some danger chances from the slot. They need other guys to step up offensively, because even if McDavid's in the lineup, you can't have your bottom 6 never scoring a goal. So, you know what, somebody getting 1 would be the first of the season, which obviously isn't ideal at this point. So I'm very curious to see how they respond as a group. I honestly think a little bit of adversity can be a positive thing. And this could be one where, you know what, you hear, they're waiting, they're looking, hey, let's just play safe. And McDavid's line or our power play will eventually win us the game. Their power play is still going to be good. I don't expect it to be 32% good. Who knows? Maybe they are for 3 or 4 games. But it's more so, what can they do on the penalty kill and goaltending? Can Jack Campbell do what he did last year? Remember in January and February for 9 games? He was outstanding. He's got to do that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the big difference. I didn't realize it was 18 for 18 that last time. But that's been something this season that can get better. And you know what that is? Coaches will tell you often, you got to do the chalkboard stuff or the whiteboard stuff, but a lot of the PK, you need some stops, and you need to work hard, and you need to get on you need to be consistent in your gaps. If you're playing the box, you just can do. You don't need Connor McDavid to have a good PK. So get that in shape. The power play has been fine. Surprisingly good, actually. Get that done. Let's have a consistent start to finish game from Skinner and from Campbell. If Campbell's the guy, he got it together a little bit. It was unfortunate the last time out with Skinner, that little bit of hesitation that on the goal. That doesn't mean he played poorly, but it's nice if you can get the win. So they're not that far off, and I know some people are going to do the eye roll. Oh, sure. And I made a little fun of myself this morning on what I wrote. 2 weeks ago, I picked them to win the Stanley Cup. So what am I going to say? If I'm saying now that Connor McDavid being out for 3 games or maybe 5 is going to upend them and end the season, then I probably didn't look at the team close enough to start the year. I think they're going to be fine. Tighten up that PK, be more consistent in the blue paint, and they should be fine. I don't think this next 3 or 5 games makes or breaks their season, but it does give them the opportunity to get into some good habits.
It can give them some positivity. What it might do, though, is almost wipe out a chance if they really flounder of getting home ice advantage in the second or third round, because Vegas and Colorado are on absolute heaters and are already 7 and 9 points ahead of the Oilers early on. So, you're playing catch up, and it's difficult to make up that much ground unless, one or both of those teams really goes on a struggle themselves, or the Oilers, because remember, the Oilers went on a ridiculous heater last year. They had the second best record in the NHL in the final 30 games, and they still couldn't catch them. So, to me, their goal is the Stanley Cup. I don't think a slow start derails their playoff chances. I just think it makes their cup chances way harder because they're likely going to have to go into Vegas and then maybe into Colorado in the second and third rounds.
Well, Vegas, I mean, that they're, hotter than a $3 pistol, to borrow an old term. I kind of disagree with you. You don't want to be this far behind. Obviously, it's not a plan. But if you're talking 9 points back at the 40-game mark and you do the math, I mean, it's not good now. Don't get me wrong. But if you're that kind of gap back at the 40-game mark, then you start doing if they do this, what do the Oilers have to do? I think there's still time. What you don't want is an extension of this. And if that's what you're talking about, I completely agree. You don't have to close that gap now, but you don't want to see it 11, 12, or 13 points 2 weeks from now. That's for sure.
You look at them defensively. Nurse and Cece's numbers have actually been very strong. Ekholm's a guy who didn't play all preseason. I think the rust has shown. Bouchard's had some fits of decent and then some real struggles. No question about it. Some are wondering, would you put Bouchard with Kulak and maybe just lessen his minutes and his quality of competition and try Desharnais or Broberg for a few shifts with Ekholm? I don't see it there yet, but if Bouchard's struggles continue, then they might have to look at that change for a short period of time.
Yeah, he's had a couple of spots in games, whether they were one really bad shift or back-to-back shifts where there were mistakes where he just went, holy cow, man, just get off the ice and gather yourself. He's appeared to not be thinking properly, or he's backed off a puck that he should have gone and got. He's played a little bit soft here and there. Evan Bouchard's never going to be a guy who forwards are watching for when they cross the blue line. He's not that kind of I'm going to get you hitter, but there are times when he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. And I know that's not his nature, so it's difficult to do. Sometimes you ask of players what doesn't come natural to them. We don't need him to be a fearsome, ferocious hitter, but he does need to get in the way a little bit more often, especially if he breaks slowly. Sometimes he breaks slowly on the puck, and he doesn't take the puck or the man, and then you're 0 for 2 on a play, and now you're backing into the goal wondering when if the chance is going to go into the net. A little less of that would be great. I don't know if you need to lessen his ice time that much. I think if you trust him and you don't think the strides that he made last year, and he was playing well when Ekholm came along, I don't know that you back him right off that. You can only go so long saying it's okay, kid, get back out there. But I don't think he's reached the point where you rein him in a little bit, because you never know. Still a young player. Does that hurt the confidence? Which isn't a bad thing if it helps the team. His confidence isn't why they play the games, but I don't know that he's been terrible. I just think he needs he's missed the guy he had beside him for those last 21 games last season, because let's face it, Echo, no matter who he's played with, has had to shake off the rust that he picked up during camp and off season, and it's not easy. He's a veteran. He can think the game and work and think his way around the ice, but your legs still have to be in gear. And with that kind of injury, that might take a little longer. And I think that's what we're seeing from him right now.
Do you think the Edmonton Elks are going to make a change at the GM position, who is also their head coach and defensive coordinator?
I would like to see Jones relieve himself of the duties in one of those positions at least. He didn't forget how to run a football team this year since coming to Edmonton, but and other people have said,
has he ever been good at it, Robin? He's never been good. He doesn't look at his record as a GM. It's never been good. Right? Well, look at it. He's 8-28 in Edmonton, and he was 28-27 in Saskatchewan. Right?
Yeah.
So if you combine
pretty
the two
mediocre,
numbers, terrible record.
I see the problem here, though, Jason, as 3 different jobs. We can argue about his competency as a GM, but I just think he's got too much on his plate. There's good coaches out there. Bring somebody in. Part of being a good GM is knowing how to delegate. Bring in smart people. Surround yourself with good people, and you should be fine. I just think we haven't seen it work these last couple years. So, I mean, there was a change made. Finally, the offense got out of its own way once Trey Ford came in. So I don't know if that was the change in offense or change in personnel. Probably a bit of both. But I just think you don't need to have 3 jobs. I mean, come on, it's not community football. You can afford to bring in a coach, I would hope.
His record as a GM and head coach is 35 wins, 55 losses. And I just, he was 27-27. I lied. He was 27-27. So he's 500 in 3 years in Saskatchewan. And obviously the last 2 years in Edmonton, everybody knows what happens, has not been good at all. You're right. He can't do all 3, but name the last time a guy was like, okay, like if he relinquishes the head coaching duties, his track record as a GM is much worse than his track record as a head coach. That's where I see the issue.
Yep.
And so if he relinquishes the GM job and now he brings in someone else to be the GM, is he confident enough to say, okay, well, you know what? I'll let my coaching record stand for itself. We'll see. Maybe he is, right? And maybe he recognizes, well, you know what? There's not many other places in the league that are looking for head coaches right now. Right now, Saskatchewan is, but I don't see him going back there. Although, you know, Edmonton brought him back, so I guess I should never say never. But something tells me he probably won't be going back to Saskatchewan, how it ended there. So, you know, when he left Edmonton, he was a winner, and everyone was like, oh, Chris Jones is great. I think he's very good as a head coach. He can't do all 3 jobs. And his biggest problem as a head coach was he didn't care enough about the offense to get rid of his offensive coordinator last offseason when he should have, because he had 5 years to see that McAdoo wasn't good, wasn't aggressive enough. And then he wasted this season by doing so, right? Like, they might have made the playoffs. I'm not saying they wouldn't have won anything. That, you know, they weren't going to beat BC. We're going to beat Winnipeg and go to the Grey Cup. You know, that wasn't going to happen, even if they started Trey Ford in week 1. But they might have got a home playoff date, right? And maybe they would have surprised the team. You never know, and be close in the semifinal and get some experience for your young team. So to me, I kind of look at this year as a wasted year, honestly. Like, you got Trey Ford for half the season when you could have had him for the full season. And you wasted your offensive coordinator for 9 games, and like the season, now the season's over. Now we'll make a change, right? So I didn't like that either. So I don't know. To me,
you gave the fans who pay to come in and watch you garbage at home for most of the season. That's the other problem.
Yes, it was unwatchable at times. So I'll be curious to see. I was told, but you know, I can't get 100% certainty, but it sounds like the CFL might be agreeing to waive that management penalty for the Elks, so it doesn't they get like a one-time escape out of jail card, right? And I think the other teams around the league recognize why you'd want that. So, you know, we'll see if it happens. But it's a big decision, and it's one where I think they got to move on it quickly. And if they bring Chris Jones back in all three roles, I don't see them improving that much. Like, they might make the playoffs eventually, sure, because Saskatchewan and Calgary aren't juggernauts, but I don't see them really competing because I think doing all three jobs is too hard to do.
Well, the positive is, though, Jason, maybe we got a chance to see a win at Commonwealth Stadium this year by an Edmonton team in the next little while here. That would be nice.
Well, yeah, a few. Well, the Elks did win a few games at home, finally, thankfully. So, Rubes, have a good one. We'll talk to you Thursday. Yeah.
Okay, Jason. See you later.
That's Robin Brownlee, a.k.a. Ruben Bronte, and the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo of Edmonton. Ended up with the little green and gold at the end, but come on. Let me know what you think as Elks fans. What would you do? And could Chris Jones relinquish the duties? Because I think he's better. His record will tell you it's better when he's the head coach than he is as a GM. So if there was a role that if you wanted to keep him around, that's the role that would make the most sense. Keeping him around as a GM doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll see what they do. Come back. We got Cam Tate. Also, we'll break down the injury because this is a really good question. Hey, guys, didn't Christian McCaffrey have an oblique tear and now he's playing this week? Well, it shows you there's different levels of tears. And we're going to talk about how even when you work out, you in theory do want to tear your muscles. Obviously not too much. So what's the degree of tears? We'll talk to an expert coming up next on Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost.
1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
You'll absolutely love the new and app-approved Booster Juice app. Download it today and start earning berry points for app-amazing rewards. Apply your points for all of your Booster Juice favorites for free. From booster balls to smoothies, snacks, and combo deals, even digital gift cards. Plus, receive personalized offers that appeal directly to you. The new and app-approved Booster Juice app. More than just online ordering. Download it today. Details at boosterjuice.com.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice?
Then choose Ewell.
Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit Ewell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochran's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's old 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochran's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. They continue developing tools and are excited to announce their newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantor.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Me damn sure the pilot.
2:45. We're going to get to Grant Fedork momentarily, but first, it's the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. If you missed it or don't know, just join us maybe for the first time. Cam Tate, a longtime reporter in Edmonton. Cam has cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair. And due to cerebral palsy, he struggles at times being very clear when he speaks. But with the wonders of technology, he allowed now to get his words on the radio. And he joins us for a 2-minute warning every Monday and Friday.
It's Monday, October 23rd, the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. They call me Fast Eddie. Every now and then we have to step, or in my case, wheel back and ask ourselves what is important, really important, and make an unselfish, keyword there, Grandpa unselfish. Look at things. We all want Connor McDavid to play in Sunday's Heritage Classic. You kidding me? To see number 97 blast off from the Oiler blue line and receive a pass before going in to perform magic in the Calgary Flames end on outdoor ice in front of more than 50,000 fans. Give me chills. And it was only -6 this morning. We want that as fans, as media folks. The National Hockey League wants it too, for monetary reasons. And perhaps nobody wants it more than McDavid. So the obvious train of thought is to make that happen. Use whatever it takes. But is that practical for all parties involved? The reality of McDavid missing the marquee game is something we must not only accept, but embrace. McDavid was injured in Saturday's Oiler 3-2 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. The current word is the upper body injury will keep 97 on the shelf for 1 or 2 weeks. The Heritage Classic would be 9 days after his injury. To rush him back is wrong. We have to put McDavid's health first. We have to support every effort to keep him in the best position to succeed for many years to come. In today's supercharged society where everything is fast, fast food, fast internet, fast cars, recovering from and injury, organ and illness is as individual as it comes. The natural healing process has an endpoint that nobody can predict. To even the person recovering, it absolutely cannot be rushed. Of course, it's disappointing to think McDavid could miss the Heritage Classic. But from where I sit on this snowy Monday, keeping McDavid safe and healthy so he can play many more years is far more important than any single game. The 2-minute warning Mondays, Fridays, the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
There you go, Cam Tate talking about McDavid. And you know what? I think Matthias Ekholm would tell you that they're not going to rush him back. I think people would like him back. It's okay for people to say, hey, yeah, we'd like him back. Hey, you know what? The league would want him back. Of course, it's one of their marquee events of the year. And you want the best player involved. But Sidney Crosby sat out due to injuries before from some marquee events, and so have others. So if McDavid's ready, he'll play. If he isn't ready, he's not going to play. While the league might want him to, trust me, there's not going to be somebody calling TD Force and saying, hey, TD, make sure you give him the green light, okay? It's just not going to happen. I'll tell you that right now, for sure. McDavid might be pressuring him because the players always want to come back. Trust me. I feel good because you can feel good. You can walk around and feel good. But then you've got to go Mach 100 in a game. That's different. So, and let's get to the injury report. Nice little segue in. Brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, where, hey, professional athletes, they have all the great training, aquatic therapy, radial shockwaves, zero gravity treadmills, and more. Well, you deserve the same, weekend warrior. You want to get back in the game, back in the run, back on the bike? Go to leadingedgephysio.com and they will help you out. As Grant Fedoruk joins us now. And Grant, welcome back to the show. I want to talk about the severity of tears because when people hear the word tear, they're like, oh my God, he tore something. Because yeah, you tear your ACL and you're out 6 months usually, right? But I know when you actually work out, you actually do tear your muscles, obviously small fabric, a small part of it, and then it rehabs and you're better the next day, right? It repairs itself. So what are the degrees of tears? Like when they say 1 to 2 weeks, is that like a strain? What do you, as a guy who's treated a lot of athletes, like what's the severity and difference in tears?
Well, they're all strains. So they're just different degrees. A tear and a strain, synonymous. Okay. So a strain refers to a muscle, sprain refers to a ligament. So when you're talking about the ACL, we would say sprain. When you're talking about a muscle, hamstring, you name it, in his region, could be a lot of different things that were strained. Okay. Then we're talking about a muscle. First degree, small amount of tearing, just very, very little amount. We usually refer to those as more mild. And then second degree is where you get into this huge area. It's where if you picture a little piece of tissue, just like literally tissue paper with just a tiny little bit of a rip at the beginning, we'd call that a first degree. Okay. Now from second degree would be anything from that all the way across until it's just about to tear right apart. That's all second degree. So in the second degree world, it's a lot harder to differentiate like what severity it is. Those would be more moderate to severe. You really capture both. Third degree, it's just ripped right off. So it depends. Now, we can, there's a whole bunch of conjecture you can take from a 1 to 2 week recovery. Likely it's in the first degree realm. Very rarely do you see a second degree injury that's returning to sport or activity inside of 6 weeks. You're hearing the number 6 weeks plus. When you're first degree, you're looking at anything from 1 to 3 up to 6 if it's a little bit more of a significant first degree injury.
So now you saw that, you've seen the video, you watch McDavid. I'm not going to speculate on what it is, but so if you look at the area, that could be oblique, right? Maybe it's a hip flexor, maybe it's your back. So let's just start with obliques there. In your experience, because like Christian McCaffrey, for instance, they announced last week he had a oblique tear. Obviously, it was a first degree because he's going to play tonight. That was 8 days, right? That's so right. An oblique tear, clearly McCaffrey proves it. It can be a week. What about what can you tear in your back per se?
Well, so your oblique actually comes off of your, it depends on which oblique we're talking about. There's internal and external obliques. And without getting into it, the one where he's got his hand kind of on his side there, that's most likely his external oblique. Okay. So that's definitely in the region, in the realm of where he had, again, we're guessing. So you're asking me what could it be or what area or level, especially if we're talking about a strain. Could be a muscle that comes off of the back. It's called quadratus lumborum. It's a pretty powerful lower back muscle that comes off of the iliac crest as well. You've got a lot of muscles that wrap around toward the back as well, longissimus, iliocostalis. So those are just what we call paraspinal muscles. Any one of those muscles could have been injured as we wrap around to the side and toward the lower back. So again, it's a guessing game because we're playing off of it's a 2 week injury. So we definitely think it's a more of a minor strain type of an issue. And then what did he do? I can tell you if it's the obliques though, rest is very important. Okay. Very important. In fact, the recovery of that tissue is almost necessitates somebody get away from activity for 7 to 10 days in that window. But then again, these guys are high-end athletes. We've had this conversation before. They've got everything going for them. They're young. They're physically fit. Their nutrition is at levels you and I have never eaten as well as they do. None of them smoke. They don't do any of the things that prevent injuries from recovering. And so they've got a better likelihood and a higher likelihood of making a good recovery.
So as Grant Fedoruk joins us from Leading Edge Physio. And Grant, when you look at McDavid And, you talk about that rehab, and rest is obviously super important, but the advancements now in rehab, like Christian McCaffrey, they talk about how he had a team working around with him to do everything, right? Like, other than rest, what's the new best treatments to help facilitate, either a first or a second degree strain?
Well, it's not about new and best all the time. We like to pride ourselves in having technology to give us assistant the recovery of a lot of these problems. But sometimes good old fashioned care is necessitated by, ice, compression. You're not elevating the back or the ribs or anything like that, but certainly giving, as soon as that injury happened, getting all of the right diagnosis is number one. And you want to talk about technology in rehab, getting it right with a diagnosis early is going to make a huge amount of difference. So, whatever they did right away, and he would have had access to everything they need to diagnose it right. Because if you go off on the wrong tangent, that's going to obviously delay the recovery. So if we're talking technology, that is where it starts, getting the right treatment for the right problem at the right time. Technology wise, there is a lot of things that we can do. We also treat these a lot different than we used to. So when I say rest, it's smart rest. Doesn't mean that he's just laying in bed. In fact, I would pretty much guarantee you he's not. He's probably doing things that'll actually increase the circulation to the area. So depending on what he did, he's probably doing some type of protected cardiovascular exercise, increase his metabolism, get all of the important nutrition to the area so that it does heal properly. But we got to protect that area, because I always say it this way, and it's really important for people listening. You might not be Connor McDavid, but the body still is what the body is going to do. And if you have a first degree, like I used the analogy early on talking about the tissue, it can become a second degree very easy. If you put the wrong stress on a first degree in the wrong time, that 1 to 3 week recovery becomes a 6 week recovery, because you've stressed it more and beyond its capability to recover. Your body is laying down collagen, it's trying to sew it. And if you just keep pulling on the tissue, literally the tissue paper, like I used the analogy, it's going to rip further, and it's going to prevent the recovery in that early stage. So early on, getting the diagnosis right and the management techniques, it's not about technology. It's not necessarily about technology, although there is technology that can get them moving in a safe environment. So examples would be things like zero gravity treadmills and things like that, depending on what part of his body has been injured. And again, we're guessing here. So
yeah, now everybody always is, rushing players back. I'm not really sure people rush. Maybe in the playoffs it might be different, but like look at Matthias Ekholm. He thought it was going to be short term. He ended up being out all of training camp. Didn't rush back and then played, and just because it was right. I think now no rehab therapist wants to be the one who rushes somebody back. But what about when you have, let's just say first degree, just because we're being, positive, and let's just assume it's a first degree, whether it's the oblique, whether it's a hip flex or whatever it is. What are the things, and is there increased probability of re-aggravating it, one area over the other, back, oblique, hip? Is there one that's more susceptible to
the oblique is one of those,
okay,
for sure. There's no question about it. That's why I was saying it's essential in the first few days of getting the right diagnosis. A strain in the back, as an example, is something we would actually get somebody moving a little bit earlier. We might actually, there's a lot of supportive tissue. The oblique's not one that gets a ton of support. It definitely has a lot of stress to it, and those muscle fibers just aren't as conducive to, I'm going to say that they heal well if they're treated properly. Let's put it that way. But if not, it can definitely lead to other problems. Hip flexors can be a difficult case too, because it depends on the health of the hip itself. There can be issues with the hip, especially high-end athletes. Look at what football players and hockey players put themselves through. So there's different things that can happen as far as what's going on inside of their hip. Even at a young age, they're starting to show some arthritic changes. Things like that can all play a role in their recovery. But I think the most important thing is, you hit it on the head. It depends on the point in the season that these guys are performing. So rushing back early, rarely is the medical professionals the one that are doing that. It's almost always the player. The player wants to be back. They want to contribute. They're geared to go. A racehorse is geared to run. A hockey player is geared to play hockey. That's what they want to do. So they're usually the ones pushing, saying, I'm good. But probably the most important thing also for people to realize is tissues in the body heals on its time frame. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
All the technology in the world give us the best chance to recover, but you certainly cannot make the body do something that it's not meant to do on its own.
Okay, so one last one. Do you find then certain people just now? I know you mentioned about how professional athletes probably have a better advantage, but even amongst professional athletes, are some going to have a DNA that heals quicker than others?
So some people are, again, that's getting into geneticist kind of territory. And we certainly do talk about some people are good healers and some aren't. There is evidence that some people perceive pain obviously different than other people perceive pain. That's a genetic factor. As far as healing goes, there's certainly something in the DNA that allows some people to have more complete and better healing than others.
Grant, great stuff, man. We appreciate your time. We'll chat with you in a few weeks.
Yeah, and I think it goes without saying we all wish him the fastest recovery, but I always say the most complete recovery. We just want him back and performing well for the whole season, not just for the Heritage Classic.
Makes a lot of sense. That is Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. So 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree. Obviously, 3rd degree being the worst, that's a complete tear. Obviously, he doesn't have that, or they wouldn't have said 1 to 2 weeks. It would seem like it's a 1st degree based on the timeline of 1 to 2 weeks. And I think Christian McCaffrey is a great example. Here's a player had an oblique tear, which clearly was a 1st degree because he's now going to play a week later on a Monday Night Football. So we'll see for McDavid. I guess you could say there's a chance he plays next Sunday in the Heritage Classic, but I don't believe that the Oilers or even McDavid is going to want to rush it back. Like, these guys are finely tuned machines. They know when things are a little bit off. And as much as you want to play, if McDavid doesn't play Sunday, he then doesn't have to play again until Thursday. It's an extra 4 days rest, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's another factor to consider. The Oilers, the schedule maker kind of gave him the favor a little bit here when you look at the timing of McDavid, because they play from the time of his injury. You would look at 2 weeks, they only play 4 games. So not terrible. Let's get to Connor Halley in a Sports 1440 update brought to you by BIE Engineering, specializing in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight. The Canadians in Buffalo taking on the Sabres. That's a 5 o'clock start. The Oilers back in action tomorrow without their captain. They'll be in Minnesota taking on the Wild. Puck drop set for 7. The American Hockey League's Bakersfield Condors have signed forward Sam Gagner to a 1-year deal. Gagner had double hip surgery back in March, ending his 2022-2023 season early. He signed a PTO with the Oilers this past summer. Week 7 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the Vikings host the 49ers. Kickoff set for 6:15. You can watch this one with me out at the North Edmonton Canadian Brewhouse for your chance to qualify for a trip for 2 to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. In the majors tonight, the Diamondbacks meet the Phillies. It's Game 6 of the NLCS with the Phillies leading 3 games to 2. First pitch in about 5 minutes. Then at 6 tonight, you've got Game 7 of the ALCS as the Astros host the Rangers. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by our co-host Terry Ryan, and Max Bowman will join us to discuss the hot start for the Detroit Red Wings. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today.
In the hustle and bustle world of today, the James Insurance Group would like to take this time to honor the Royal Canadian Legion, who continue to make a difference in the lives of veterans and their families. Today and every day, we honor those who gave their hearts and lives for our todays, lest we forget. A message from the James Insurance Group, online at tjig.ca. That's tjig.ca.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Jaffa Machinery. Jaffa is digging deep on their 50-year history supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition Blackout excavators. Visit jaffamachinery.com for all the details.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
No!
Welcome back. Monday afternoon. Drive safe. A little snowy out there. Well, early winter. No guarantee it's here to stay. Let's hope not that it isn't. Selfishly, we don't need that much. At least I don't think so anyway. So see how it goes. Let's get to it is the Jason Gregor Show presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where of course Game 7 tonight, Monday Night Football, or the only NHL game. Maybe you do a parlay with all three sports: MLB, NHL, NFL. Check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you as we welcome in our Monday and Thursday co-host, our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Successful weekend for the Saints. 2 big wins, convincing fashion, 7-1 and 6-2. They are back at home on Wednesday. If you want to get your tickets, go to sprucegrovesaints.ca. as Terry Ryan joins us. Of course, played Junior A and Major Junior in British Columbia, now residing on the East Coast. TR, how you doing?
Not bad. Good to be with you again. How was the weekend?
You know what? It was pretty decent. Not great if you're an Oiler fan. Of course, losing Connor McDavid for what the team announces 1 to 2 weeks. And, now everybody, hey, proverbial next guy up, Terry. I know that's always the mentality, but easier said than done, I would think. I'm sure you've played on teams where, you had a key guy go down with injuries, and guys want to rally around it. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes they're not that good. Like, I think the Oilers, the rest of their team is good enough that they should be able, bare minimum, to go 2-2 without McDavid, right? Just be a 500 team, let's say, if he misses 4 games. Like, I think that's not unrealistic when I look at the rest of their talent, if they play up to their capabilities. How do you think they respond to this, and how much of it is a mental game?
Well, first of all, I mean, a lot of it's a mental game, but first of all, if there was a time for this to happen, isn't this the time? Because, and I know they've got 1 win, but they haven't played that bad. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I really don't think they have. I think they've had some bad bounces. I have no idea what analytics say, but I watch the games. There must be some that are favoring.
Yeah, lots of them are, yeah.
Yeah, lots say that they're going to break out. Okay, so first of all, it's not really panic button time. It's at the very, very beginning of the season. They need some kind of boost. They need something to happen. Now their captain's down, well known as the best player on the planet. Okay, but you've also got some great depth there. When this happened a couple of years ago, I think they have a much better lineup now than they did. I think there's a lot of guys that can step up with a few more minutes. Evander Kane, you're gonna chirp about it. Here's your chance. You're going to be chirping the coach in front of everybody. Here's your chance. Dylan Holloway. I don't know. If there's ever a time, isn't this it? I'd love to see him get a chance. I really would. I think he's good offensively. I understand why he hasn't really up to this point got a chance to flourish and play a lot. But I don't know. You're on the team. You're a former first-round pick. You've been showing nothing but signs of progression. You've evolved fairly well as a player. You're saying the right things. You're doing the right things. You're a left-hand shot, fairly fast forward. Your captain's out who fits that description. I don't know. Isn't now a good time to go up and give him a chance? For me, yes.
It'll be curious as to what line combinations, because today they just did special teams practice. It was only power play and penalty kill, and Evander Kane's going to be on the power play. And obviously Kane can't be McDavid on the power play, right? Like, McDavid and Draisaitl, how they rotate, they swing around all the time, they're moving all the time. And so I think their power play might be a bit more stationary. We'll see. Maybe like Nugent Hopkins obviously is kind of filling the role of McDavid, and Kane's going to take Nugent Hopkins' spot on the bumper. But, Nugent Hopkins is a really good power play guy. His numbers suggest this. He hasn't been a great 5-on-5 player in his career, but he's a really good power play guy. So I'm curious to see, like how their power play does without McDavid. I think, the onus will be probably now Draisaitl and Nuge will have the majority of touches, whereas before it was Draisaitl and McDavid. And then we'll kind of see where it goes. But the line's 5-on-5. And what's funny, if you look at the Oilers game, so they lost to Winnipeg. They outshot the Jets 32-14, 5-on-5. 32-14. Earlier when they lost to the Canucks at home, they outshot them 23-13. 5-on-5. The Flyers game was easily their worst game. I thought they got dominated. They were never really in that game, so that was their bad one. Even against Vancouver, the 8-1 loss. Well, obviously the score's terrible. And they deserve to lose. Don't get me wrong, but the other 3 games they easily could have won. I wouldn't have been surprised if they beat Winnipeg. Hellebuck made some key saves. Like Fogle missed a breakaway. Hyman missed a breakaway. They had some chances. They didn't bury. And then obviously the Stuart Skinner hesitation cost them the goal that tied the game late in the second period. So there are some arrows pointing to say, hey, we could be better, but now you're going to need Ryan McLeod. I think, Connor Brown, Evander Kane's the big one for me. Like Evander Kane, we spoke to Kane today, and what he said about that is like, hey, I was asked a question, did you get in the fight to kind of get your game going? And he's like, yeah, I only played 3 minutes in the first period, and I got into a fight. And then he ended up sitting out 8 minutes because of the stoppage, right? And he's like, well, those are all facts. And it's true. And the reason he only played 3 minutes, though, I don't think was because the coach. It was because, A, he's not on the first unit power play. And so they normally take a minute and a half. And then the Oilers kept taking penalties in the first period, and he's not on the penalty kill. So I don't really think it was the coach upset at him that he got limited minutes. I think it was more of the situation. But I will say, Evander Kane, of all the guys who need to step up in their top six, right now he's the one who has to do more because Nugent-Hopkins produced, Hyman's produced, Draisaitl's produced. Fogel's got, the production you would expect from him. Kane's the one guy who hasn't done close to enough through 5 games.
Yeah, and he might say, okay, obviously they're facts. Lots of things are facts, but there's tone as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's complaining about context. No, we heard it. I know exactly what you said. We all know what you said. And you're implying that you weren't out there a lot. He didn't, he certainly wasn't implying that this was a positive thing. And hey, on anything to help the team, it was quite the opposite. Now, guy's frustrated. He's a big-time scorer. I'll give him that. The only thing that gives me a little bit of hesitance is that this was the very reason you're sniffing around at the kind of attitude, kind of things that you say are the reason that so many other teams were hesitant. So I hope that stays in its box because this is just a little bit of adversity. I don't think he's faced a whole lot coming here, but I do believe he's a more mature player, and that was maybe a slip up because he didn't really he didn't elaborate or really go too far into what he said today. I think he was backpedaling a little bit, and maybe it's a guy with a temper in mid-game. You know what?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd rather get the horse back into the barn, than one that wouldn't want to leave in the first place. And whatever the reasons are, he went out and threw his weight around. So I believe his intentions were in the right place. That's I'd like to keep it in check, but I wouldn't be, if I'm a teammate, I'd say that's Evander, and it's probably his kind of signal. I'm going to get going now. It's 5 games. It's not the end of the world, but players like that don't normally go 5 games, not only not scoring, but being so quiet. He hasn't really done a lot. So I look for him to break out as well as some other players, but I was looking for that anyway. Like I said, I think they've been on the wrong end of the stick for as far as bounces go here early in the season.
Yeah, you look at Kane's being outscored 6-1 at 5-on-5 when he's on the ice. Not that he's been the main factor in those. I just want to say Anu's on for an empty net goal, which obviously never counts. But he's got 1 point at 5-on-5. That's it. And amongst the the forwards on the team, only McDavid and Draisaitl have played more minutes than Evander Kane 5-on-5. So he definitely can't complain about ice time, in my opinion, and he can't complain about not having an opportunity. He's just got to start producing. And you know what? Streaky scores. You get one. Terry, we've seen the floodgates open for lots of guys. And confidence, I don't care if you're a 300-goal scorer, you're a 500-goal scorer, you're a 5-goal scorer. It's amazing how confidence can evaporate for even the best player, even though they know it shouldn't. We've seen it infect guys way worse than it should all the time. It just happens. It's hard to not let you get within your own brain a little bit. I'm sure you probably experienced that at times.
Yeah, and it's like it gets in your head. The ice seems smaller. You feel like you can't make a decision. It's really wild how that goes. And when it comes to confidence with Kane, a lot of players you're looking and you can't really see it. They might start playing a little bit when you're like, oh, he's making some decent decisions. I don't know, Draisaitl. You can tell when he's really on. But for me with Kane, it's when he gets involved. And I really am not. I'm not trying to say only when he fights or even goes out and throws a hit. Just, you can tell when someone's bearing down. And, if he's in the corner, he's stronger on the puck. He goes to the front of the net. He's got a little bit of spit in his attitude. Doesn't always necessarily mean a fight. I know that happened last game. But for me, I don't know. Anybody that watches Evander Kane fairly consistently, I think can see that there's 2 different Evander Kanes. And the more successful Evander Kane is the one that gets physical, gets in your face, and scores goal from often reacting as much as, an action on a 2-on-1 or a breakaway. That guy gets his nose dirty, especially in the offensive zone, and you can tell when he's on. And this is his chance right now, isn't it, to reclaim his glory.
They go into Minnesota, and Minnesota is like the anti-Nashville for the Oilers lately. They go into Nashville, they win for fun. They go into Minnesota, they lose for fun. They've won 1 of their last 9 visits in Minnesota. And, I do, for whatever reason, Terry, there is the mental aspect for groups. Like, you go to some buildings and you're like, God, I can't wait. I love this place. And others, you're just like, God, I hate it. Right? Like, it happens at every level. There's certain places that you feel better about as a team and as an individual.
Definitely. And sometimes it's just a mental block, maybe because of some bad games or some bad plays. For me, honestly, that could come down to like one turnover. It could just get in my head. Like you said, confidence. And it's not always the confidence of how you're doing and how the team's doing. Sometimes each building has a certain mystique or an identifier to you in your brain. And you've just got to, I know it's tough. You just got to get over it. And in my experience, certain teams, it's one thing to be intimidating, but it's another thing to like lull you to sleep and maybe go out and beat you by consistently, I'm not going to say boring you, but frustrating you that way. I find Minnesota really frustrating that way. The Oilers often can't, they can't, what's the word? Flow. They want to break out, but it seems that Minnesota has an answer. They had a decent neutral zone trap, and I don't know. They're a frustrating team to play against. But again, these are minor things. I don't think the Oilers should have anything to worry about, and I think they're about to break out. And of all the guys we mentioned, or even we mentioned some guys, but look, you said Fogle. Look at McLeod, another good player, right? Janmark had a really good exhibition. Hasn't kind of found it. But there's all kinds of potential here. We mentioned Kane, Holloway. A lot of these guys should be really wanting that opportunity, as I'm sure they do. And it seems to me the timing is perfect for someone, and there's a lot of them, for someone to step up. And the situation couldn't be any better if you're an Oilers forward right now.
Yeah, there's 22 minutes up for grabs now for other guys to grab in different areas of the ice. And, Connor Brown can go in that list amongst others. Not playing the same position, but I think there's lots of guys where the opportunity will be higher, and we'll see who grabs it. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube. We're coming to you live from the EWEL studio, EWEL.ca for all your electrical needs. We will return and chat a little of hockey about a team that's kind of the opposite of the Oilers right now. They're rolling.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Trevor is lonely.
Yeah.
So Trevor threw a big party and served salad.
Nobody came.
Mike is also lonely.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
So Mike threw a big party and served Will Hawk beef jerky.
Go Will Hawk! Go Will Hawk! Everybody came!
Will Hawk beef jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Corporate Business Solutions is celebrating 22 years of local service, local support, local always. Established in 2001, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. When you call CBS, you'll always speak with a live person, just like you and your business deserve. Thank you to our loyal customers for their 22 years of continued support. Our success is owed to you. For local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prices are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prices based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
Did you know oil changes could get you closer to your next vacation? Right now at Jiffy Lube, get 50 bonus air miles reward miles when you get a Pennzoil Platinum oil change. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
Hey sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weirton, his team at Weirton, Pearson, Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.325, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you as we continue on a Monday. Of course, the Oilers in the air right now on their way to Minnesota for a 1-game road trip. Then they are back taking on the Rangers on Thursday when it is Doug Waite and Charlie Huddy night when they will be inducted into the Oilers Hall of Fame. And then on Sunday, it's the Heritage Classic, the 20-year anniversary of the first Heritage Classic, which has now become a league-wide phenomenon. It started in Edmonton. The NHL didn't even really want to do it. Didn't give the Oilers much help 20 years ago. But now they love it, as do many fans. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And you know what you love? McDonald's Monopoly. And it is back, and there's more chances than ever to win. You can peel on the pack or peel in your app. Do both. More chances to win. All the rules are at mcdpromotion.ca. And while Oiler fans are not loving the start to the season for their team in a city where it's been a long time since they've had some success, they are quite excited. They've outscored teams 30-15 through 6 games. After losing their season opener, they have reeled off 5 consecutive wins. And they have the league's top 2 scorers right now, with Alex DeBrincat leading the way with 8 goals and 12 points, and Dylan Larkin second with 3 goals and 8 assists. The Detroit Red Wings, are they for real? We'll find out now. So we go to Detroit. We are joined from the Athletic beat reporter for the Rings. Max Bultman joins us. And Max, obviously, hey, the power play is great at 39%. Heck, it was at 50%, just above it there for the first 5 games. But what do you make of this start for the Red Wings? Obviously, I don't expect them to win 5 of every 6, but how much improved do you think this team actually is from last year?
Well, it definitely improved. I mean, you look at kind of how it's come together so far, and they're not going to shoot 16% as a team the whole season. The power play is not going to be a historic power play. But what I think it has shown is that their off-season kind of vision of making this a lineup that, while it may not have those elite stars that so many of the league's top teams have, what they can try to do is they can build a lineup that's really deep. And I think you've seen that at the top with DeBrincat, but you're also getting, contributions from guys like Andrew Kopp, who's got 3 goals already after a tougher year last year. Joe Veleno's got 3 goals already for them this year. They've had 14 different goal scorers through 6 games. And I think what that tells you is, while they're not going to be this good all year, their vision did have some merit to it and what they tried to put together this year. And we'll see how far it takes them. DeBrincat,
he got a very friendly welcome when he went back to Ottawa, which is always the case sometimes for players, but he's there, didn't have the success he wanted, but man, he is loving life early on. Him and Dylan Larkin, man, those guys are on fire. What, any answer as to why? And DeBrincat's been a 2-time 40-goal scorer, so maybe we shouldn't be stunned that he's scoring goals, but even for him, this is a ridiculous start.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Dylan Larkin joked last night that they played together in summer league growing up, so they knew it would translate together at the NHL level. In actuality, they actually had a kind of a clunky preseason together, where we were kind of asking in the media room, is there a bit of struggle to find chemistry? Well, it looks like they figured that out, and right away in the season, Dylan Larkin kind of said they just kind of stopped thinking so much and have played, and that's working for him. Obviously, the shooting talent that DeBrincat has, you allude to it. He's been a 2-time 40-goal scorer. Sometimes he's going to get hot like this, and certainly very fortunate for them to be coming at this point in the year. But Larkin's looked really good too, and it's interesting to me because that's always been kind of a question around here in Detroit. Is he's always been the Red Wings' best player. What would he look like with better talent around him? Right now he's off to an amazing start, so maybe the first little window into the answer.
Max, the East is loaded with some great teams. The Red Wings look promising, but after this real hot start, what are the expectations, you think, now?
Yeah, it's always tough when you have a team that's coming out of a stretch like the one the Red Wings have been in these last several years. Fans, I don't think, quite know how to handle it. Some are all in, right? It's all right. This is a sign. It's buy your playoff tickets now, and some are a lot more cautious because they've seen some brief flirtations with success that have come crashing down. I think people are still trying to figure that out, and really have been since before the season even started, knowing what to expect from this team. So right now, I think people have done a fairly good job balancing that. They are extremely excited. Obviously, they're most excited, I think, to see a team that is scoring as much as they have, because in the past, when they've had these kind of runs these last 5-6 years, anytime they've gotten hot, it's always just been by playing really strong defense, which is no less important, but a lot less exciting. So I think right now they're excited about that, and the rest they're kind of keeping in check to see, let's see where things stand at U.S. Thanksgiving.
Speaking of scoring, Joe Veleno, 3 goals, 6 games. He had a great junior career. I think people, he's a great player. I think people know that. Been watching his progress closely, but now he seems to have broken out. I know it's early. I'm not saying only because of the 3 goals. I'm looking at ice time. I'm looking at expectations and the fact he has the 3 goals and an assist in 6 games. What do you think his ceiling is this year?
Well, you're right to not make it all about the goal totals, because I think the role that they have him in is about a lot more than that. And I think, honestly, even if he wasn't scoring, they were already really happy before he was scoring with him, because of kind of the complete game he's shown. He's been really good on the forecheck. His skating's always been an asset. He's really seemed to kind of make the most of it, I think, so far this year. He points to confidence as the difference, and I think that's going to make it really interesting to see what this year becomes from him. He's on a 1-year contract, so what's the ceiling? It's so hard to peg right now. I think they'd be really happy, though, if he can excel in the role that he's in right now, which is their third-line center. I don't think they need him to really be more than that, but obviously I do think with the talent that he has, who loves to put a ceiling on guys, right? But I think they'd be really happy if he could be a really good third-line center, and so far he has been that this year.
Max Boltman joins us, beat reporter for the Detroit Red Wings, off to a 5-1 start. Max, on the back end, of course, Mo Siders, their main guy, Jake Wallman, Ben Sherratt, Shane Gostisbehere have been their top 4 guys, and then you've got Petrie, Hall, and Olli Mata switching. With Hall's played 5 games, Mata 5, Petrie has played 4. How Petrie being a healthy scratch for the opening game got a few people's eyebrows raised a little bit. Was he struggling? How would you evaluate him 4 games in?
Well, Motto was the scratch on opening night, but they've rotated a little bit since then. Petrie was with Sherratt to start out, and I think he has had a little bit of a tough start. But when Derek Lalonde has described those scratches, he actually described the one yesterday as a kind of a maintenance scratch, so a little bit banged up. The D situation as a whole is kind of interesting. They haven't had the kind of depth that they have this year yet, and so I think they're going to rotate a little bit toward the bottom of that lineup.
Now they've dressed 7 defensemen a few games, have they not?
They have, and so they've. That's one thing that, especially with Robbie Fabry's injury, has opened up for them to do. Derek Lalonde doesn't mind doing that, especially I think he's mentioned on the road he likes it. That's what they did in Ottawa, in fact, and so that's an interesting one because it gives them. They've got guys like Gossespierre that you are just kind of power play aces that you really, really want. And Petrie, they had been running on their second power play as well. So it will be interesting to see how they sort through that. But I do think the 11 and 7 is going to be a big part of that.
What about Clean Costin? I noticed 4 games out of 6 for them. Everybody saw the hit, and then him and Gabranson had quite the tilt. But he's only averaging 7 minutes a night in Detroit. He's making $2 million. Are they disappointed with him thus far? What's going on there?
Sorry, who was that? I cut out. I lost you for a second.
Clean Costin.
He's banged up right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's in terms of the minutes, though. I think partly that's a little bit role, and when he has been in, it's. I do agree. I kind of expected to see him use a little more. They haven't used that whole fourth line really as much as I would have expected, but he doesn't have a real special teams role for them, I think, is the key in those minutes. He's not on one of their 2 power play units. He's not one of their big penalty killers, and that usually results in those lower minutes. I am surprised it's not closer to 10. I'm curious to see where it'll be when he does get healthy and get back in there more full time. And so, I do think it's interesting. He's a guy they brought in because they didn't really have a lot of his heaviness, a lot of his jam. He showed that right away. I think he really brought that physical presence.
Yeah.
He's also had a fight already. So that will be interesting to watch when he gets back.
When you look at Mo Seider and just, the minutes he plays, he's not playing huge minutes this year. He's playing 21. It's not like he's up there at 24, 25. And maybe that's better sometimes. It's hard to log 24, 25 minutes a night. But, Mo Seider to me, the more I watch Detroit games, I'm really impressed by just how physical he is. He's kind of a nasty player, and I mean that in a complimentary way. Kind of tell me, where do you feel Mo Seider is right now? Is there more for him? And if there is, where is the area of growth left in his game?
Yeah, he keeps taking steps. I mean, I think when you talk about the ice time, that's where the 11 and 7 also comes into play, right? Is none of those guys are playing huge minutes when they're playing all of them like that. But even some games where I think last night he was only right around 19 or 20. So they have been rolling the pairs. And I think as time goes on, you do want to see him become that 23, 25 every single night kind of guy. But I think he's on the road to being that. You talked about the nastiness, and that's such a trademark of his game for sure. They need that from him. There's no doubt. I think the big steps that they're really excited about too have come on the first power play. And you talk about the numbers, maybe that sounds obvious. They really wanted him to kind of simplify up there, and he's done that. He's become just kind of that simple facilitator up at the top, and he's worked on kind of the point shot. I think that's something you'll see as the year goes on, that Mo Seider maybe ups his goal totals a little bit from what you've seen from them past years. But I think they just want him to be that full, complete two-way defenseman. And if he can be that, if he can be a big minute eater that controls the game, they're going to be thrilled with it.
Goaltending, how's it been?
Yeah, I think improved. We'll see, because right now they're outscoring their mistakes at such a high level that they really haven't had to ask a goalie to be really, really good yet. Like, they haven't really had that situation that, late in the game, they need somebody to stand on their head and save it. The one exception maybe being Pittsburgh, and I thought Ville Husso held up well there. But I think the biggest factor is behind Husso, actually, because he was so overworked last year.
Yeah.
He really went out. They knew they needed to get good backup depth, and James Reimer gave him a shutout in his first performance, but he gave him a solid outing last night against Calgary. That's the thing I'm watching the closest, because I think you kind of know what Husso is. He's a good, not amazing NHL starter, but he can be good enough for you, but you're going to have depth behind them. And I think so far they have. We'll see how that holds up.
Max, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. We will chat with you soon.
Hey, always a pleasure, guys. Take care.
That is Max Baldwin from The Athletic. Red Wings, 5-1. And I know there's lots of Oilers fans saying, hey, Edmonton could use Clean Costin. He definitely could use his physicality. I don't doubt that one iota. But he's having the same trouble in Detroit that he had in Edmonton as far as to get ice time because he's not on either special teams unit. And that's across the league. If your coach, and I shouldn't say can't penalty kill, if the coach doesn't use you on the penalty kill, because I don't know if he can or can't. Right? I think there's lots of guys who probably could, but some coaches just, hey, I like who I'm using, so they don't give other guys opportunity. And then it's hard, right? And you got teams around the league who have fourth line guys who are all playing 10. It's because they're on the penalty kill. It's just that simple. So, Clean Costin, would you want to play Clean Costin $2 million to be on the fourth line in Edmonton? Probably not. Right? I like him a lot, but not at $2 million for 7 minutes a night. Tara, what do you think?
No, I just think it's too high a price. I really appreciate what he brings, but he's limited. And probably won't get much of a chance on special teams first and or last. So, yeah, I just think $2 million is a lot to spend when you're a team that's going for the cup that has such that has to deal with the salary cap on a nightly. I mean, right now, isn't that the reason we can't call anybody up? The Oilers can't call anybody up because of cap issues. So you're going to give a guy like that who plays half a dozen minutes $2 million? It's overpriced.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Detroit gave him that much. And now it's only 4 games, but he was playing 720. I've looked at other guys who played 1 game, and they're playing 11 minutes or 13 minutes, and he's played 4 games at 720, and now he's banged up, unfortunately for him. So, I'm sure he's loving the price tag, but guys like to play. And so I'll be curious to see as the season goes along, does Detroit use him more? I think we saw in the playoffs that Clean Costin, you know what? The guy can shoot the puck. He can be physical. And I think he might be more valuable come playoff time because of those elements. He doesn't become a shrinking violet in the big games. And that's where you'd be like, man, I'd take Clean Costin. But I'd probably take him $1 million, maybe even 1.25. Because then in the playoffs, I don't care. Because you know what? If he's only been bringing me 9 minutes, it can be a difference making 9 minutes because of how he plays.
Oh, I don't get me wrong. I like the way he plays. And if there was no salary cap, it's odd. I think he could play on any team. I given the salary cap is the reason I think the $2 million. I mean, obviously, but I do like his game. But the NHL's a tough league. Even Detroit. Look at Jason. They're real deep. I didn't realize, man. They got Kopp in there. Think of all these vets. That you mentioned. It's one thing to have Larkin and DeBrincat. But they have a huge veteran presence. At first, I thought they brought him in for that. God, they got Petrie's there, like I said, Sprong, Hall, Reimer. Well, Reimer, I guess, second year. But, they've got a lot of leadership in every position, and they're humming along up front. And even at the best of times, is Costin going to play on the power play? I don't think so. And Detroit are looking much deeper than I thought they were. So, it's just an example of a player that I think solid NHLer, but it's tough to find work sometimes,
342, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. When we return, we're going to get to Ryan's rant. We got Andi Petrillo, 5 questions. Lots of your texts coming in at 833-401-1440, and also 420 today, your first chance to qualify to help your neighbor where you're going to be able to gift someone a brand new high efficiency furnace. Installation included, everything from Legacy Heating. That's coming up at 420.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes, call Legacy. Call Legacy. For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind. Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's got to be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, TAG, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
the professionals.
At actionelectrical.net today.
Corporate Business Solutions will keep your multifunction office equipment happy. But don't take our word for it. Toner cartridges from far and wide have been raving.
Well, I like it when they give me a shake, shake, shake.
500 out of every 500 sheets of paper say they love their experience in a new Konica Minolta office solution.
Get tickled as I flow through the machine.
With regular preventative maintenance, Corporate Business Solutions will keep your office equipment up and running by fixing your device before it breaks down. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Oil changes on your schedule and bonus air miles reward miles? Only at Jiffy Lube. Right now, get an extra 50 air miles reward miles with your Pennzoil Platinum oil change. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Five-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints are celebrating their 20th season in Spruce Grove. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best Junior A hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $9 to $15 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sprucegrovesaints.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EUL. From LED lighting audits and retrofits to design-built distribution systems, EUL services can give you the edge you need to impress your clients. EWEL.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I wonder what it's like to be a superhero. I wonder where I'd go if I could fly around downtown. Yeah.
3:47 as we roll through Monday afternoon. Welcome back to the Gregor Show. Remember, there's that little thing for any of you newer vehicles. You look where you turn your lights on, just flick it to auto. Just turn it to auto. Then your lights are on all the time. Front and back. It's much safer for everyone, right? It's a very little switch. Check it out. You help everybody on the roads. Lights on, good thing. Lights off, not very bright. No pun intended. Let's get now to Ryan's Rant, brought to you by Action Electrical. They are, of course, a family-run business owned for 50 years. They continue to evolve and grow, and obviously solar is a big thing. They know all about it and all about all the grants you can apply for, up to $5,600 you can get free. And also, if you're looking for a resident or your commercial, get interest-free loans. If you want to get solar put in. Learn all about it at actionelectrical.net. Here is Ryan's Rant.
Thank you, Jason. I'd like to know what you think of something here. Wasn't sure what to quote unquote rant about today, but one thing that really upset me from this weekend's games was the Rasmus Andersson hit at the end of the game. Okay. Now, here we are. We often talk, the physicality's leaving the game or whatever. I mean, it's obviously still going to be physical. But I'm looking at that, and I thought that was one of the most gutless things I've seen. If I was on, not only if I was on Columbus, I might just, there's only certain things that have ever bothered me. I might just, if I played on any random team and I'm part of the union, go after them on behalf of everybody. That was absolute nonsense. And not only that, it wasn't just that he went for the head or left his feet. It's that there's 1 second left in the game. The guy's got the puck, an empty net. He's obviously going to shoot for it. You can try to impede it. It didn't mean anything. And then I look and I see he had 26 penalty minutes last year. 26. At least back in the day, if someone does that, it's someone that can defend themselves. Now you got people, which it's never been good, by the way, that kind of a late hit. That's bullcrap no matter what. But all of a sudden, you get guys running around. That's the equivalent of like Denny Savard doing that or Alexei Yashin. Like, what's going on? If you got to put your head up because of these no-minds running around who couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag and are just courageous because it's the very end of a game and nobody's coming to get them, I think it's absolute gutless. The suspension, there's only two ways to deal with it. Either you suspend him or a player hurts him, right? Because I'm fighting him, and I'm telling him, if I don't win the fight, I'm going to break my stick off over your laces. That's what's going to happen. And you're not going to do that anymore. And we talk about all this, and a lot of times, a new age fans, or I get it a lot of the time, that fights look in some ways barbaric, I guess, depending on the situation. And when I played, of course, there was probably an excessive amount of them. But there's a reason they're there. And that, my friends, that is the reason they're there. And I don't want to make this about me. I'm going to tell you a story, though. I mean, it's really all I can do is relate personal experiences I can identify. I was playing in Boise, Idaho. It was the year I had my career-ending injury, and I knew I was done. And I hurt it was a high ankle sprain I did in Dallas camp. I went there. I think I limped through the year and played 25 or 30 games with the Idaho Steelheads. And my captain was Jeremy Milmock. And he got run from behind by a guy named Darcy Johnson. Now, Darcy and I ended up winning a championship the next year in Orlando. Darcy's passed away now. God rest his soul. But this happened, okay? Darcy, the way it worked back then is that you got suspended against the team that you committed the infraction against. So he got a 4-game suspension. They were all against us. And in the West Coast League, I believe there was 10 teams in the league. It's all got absorbed by the East Coast League. But we flew everywhere. So you would go in and play generally a weekend series of games. That would happen often. So it was, I guess, 2 weekends that he was suspended. And I put on my gear. I was out for the year, but I was still on the roster. And I went down to John Oliver, the coach, and I had a meeting with the players. And I said, I'm going to put on my gear. I got a high ankle sprain. I can't push off much. I can definitely fight. So I said, I don't want anybody to worry about it. I'm going to put on my gear, and I'm going to tell them. And I went out and warm up. I said, Darcy, I'm coming. Now, if I lose the fight, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to really hurt you bad. I'm going to break my stick off over your laces. I'm telling you that. Now, I know that's not a great thing. A lot of people hearing this going, oh, my God, what a violent player. No, I wasn't. I was reactionary. I like to defend my teammates. But I was absolutely livid. It's out there on YouTube. I dressed. I got the one shift, like I said. I beat Darcy pretty good. And then he apologized after the game. And we remained friends until he passed away. Not only that, we won a championship together the next year in Orlando. But it was brutal. I know myself. And if that was me, or and I mean, there's a lot of other players out there. One thing that'll never leave is emotion. So he did that, and I don't care. I know the game might be getting wussified a little bit, but don't tell me that doesn't bother you. Don't tell me that doesn't bother a few players on that team, and before the year's out, he'll get his from somebody. And I wish I was younger. I wish I was better. I wish I was in the NHL right now, because I'd be coming, Rasmus, and I'd be bringing hell with me.
Oh, buddy, I'll say this, and anybody who's listened to my show for quite a few years is where I stand. I think Rasmus Andersson is the biggest pretender in the league, and I've said it for a long time. You know what? He's talked tough all the time. He doesn't back. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Would I want him on my team if I was a fan and I want a good player? Sure. But I think he is the biggest pretender as far as somebody who acts infinitely tougher than he actually is. That was not tough. It was cheap. There's a very big difference between tough and cheap. Some tough guys will be cheap every now and then, but they're tough. That was a cheap shot to a player who it's line A. A, he's a pretty good player in the league. B, he's not somebody, although I will give Laine credit. Last year, Laine had a pretty good scrap. So you know what? I think I would love to see Laine drop the mitts because he'd wipe the floor with Rasmus Andersson. I'd firmly believe it. And if he didn't, then I would have a Columbus guy. Now, Gabranson obviously would crush him, so it wouldn't be him. But if I'm Boone Jenner, I'm someone else, I'm like, I don't care. This is one where I would go to my coach and say, you know what, guys? I'm going to get an instigator tonight. Are you guys going to kill it off? And I know I've talked to players over the years. I played at a low level. When a guy took a very aggressive penalty, you killed it off for whatever reason. I don't know how, is the, karma, whatever have it, but guys would do anything to kill that penalty off because they're like, this guy's standing up for our teammates. It's a good one. Rasmus Andersson is such a pretender. It bothers me to no end. I hate pretenders. If you're not tough, there's nothing wrong with that because it's hard to be tough. Just don't pretend you're tough when you're not tough. And so I love what you said at the start though, Terry, how other guys, even if you're friends with Patrick Laine, you might look and say, you know what? I'm going to get this SOB when the time's right for me. And that's something I'm going to watch for because his feet left the ice blatantly with 1 second to go on a nothing play because the game's over. It's a nothing play. And you know what? I know he appeals. He has his appeal with the league. If Gary Bettman reduces, I wish Gary Bettman would do what Struddy's principal did to him. Struddy appealed his grade 12 test because he thought the grade was wrong. So he rewrote it and he got a worse grade the second time.
I didn't know that.
Oh God, it's a great story. We love it. He's told it a few times. But the point is, I would love them to appeal. And Bettman's like, you know what, Rasmus? You're right. This should have been 5. That would be unbelievable. I would love it. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but there's no way they should reduce it. That's one of the more gutless plays I've seen from a guy who I think is one of the biggest pretenders in the NHL.
Yeah, and there's 1 second left, so the penalty minutes don't mean anything. So literally the only way that he can pay the piper is to be suspended or to be dealt with. That's it. That's the only two options we got here.
Totally true.
So to me, I don't know. Like I'm usually on the side of I often think more than average suspensions are too long, but I think this is way too short. Too short, way too short. Like that was I'm looking at that like as a compassionate human. Like you're in my union. This isn't a playoff game. We're Columbus Blue Jackets. What's going on? Do we have a major rivalry? Did we just have a bench brawl? No. There's an empty net. And Patrick Laine, who didn't do anything to you that I know of, maybe I missed something early in the game and I'm wrong. But if I'm not wrong, then what are you doing as a player, as a union member? You're supposed to go to bat with me as a union member, and you're going to run me like that, try to hurt me. Like, that was apt to me as gutless gets. There might be some reactions. Things might happen out of temper. There might be worse looking plays, although I don't know of many. And he's appealing a 4-game suspension. I'm absolutely astounded. And I wish some of the reason people say I like to play. I like the moments on the bus with my buddies and scoring a goal and everything. Honestly, one of the things I miss is being able to deal with that because I don't know. I grew up an only child. I didn't like bullies on a playground, but you couldn't deal with them because you'll get suspended or you'll get arrested. Well, you know what, Rasmus? Here I come, because once the confines of this hockey arena, once we're skating around and once I'm in a league, it's a 5-minute penalty. Or worse, I'll break my stick over you and get a 2 or 3 gamer. How do you like that? I hope somebody does because I don't mind people going hard. I don't even mind the odd dirty hit. I mean, I mind it, but I'm frantically frustrated and angered about this. That was trying to hurt somebody, and for absolutely no reason other than cowardice, absolutely uncourage, or no courage, total cowardice. And I hope that he pays the piper soon by a big tough guy or a stick.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. I love the rant. I love the passion. That's Ryan's rant, brought to you by Action Electrical. Coming up, Andi Petrillo will join us. Also, our first qualifier to help your neighbor, where they could win a brand new high-efficiency furnace from Legacy Heating. That's all coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But first, here is the Con Man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud to bring back Help Your Neighbor this year. Well, they will take out the old furnace, install a brand new high-efficiency furnace. We're going to gift it to someone who really needs it. So stay tuned for the next month, and you could be helping your neighbor with Legacy Heating.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight in the NHL. The Canadiens in Buffalo taking on the Sabres. That'll get going just after 5 o'clock. The Oilers back in action tomorrow without their captain, as they'll be on the road in Minnesota. That's a 7 o'clock start. Bakersfield Condors have signed forward Sam Gagner to a 1-year deal. Gagner had double hip surgery back in March, ending his season. He signed a PTO with the Oilers this past summer. Week 17 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the Vikings host the San Francisco 49ers. Kickoff set for 6:15. You can watch this one with me out at the North Edmonton Canadian Brew House for your chance to qualify for a trip to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. MLB playoffs rolling on right now. Bottom of the second, Game 6 of the NLCS. The Diamondbacks lead the Phillies 3-1. Philly leads that series 3-2. We've got a Game 7 later this evening, 6 o'clock start, Astros and Rangers. Coming up in hour number 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Andi Petrillo of CBC Sports and One Soccer, and we'll hear another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, professional athletes use aquatic therapy, radial shockwaves, zero gravity treadmills, and pneumatic recovery devices for rehab. Leading Edge Physiotherapy offers those to you because sports shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.403 Sports 1440. The Onion in Lethbridge asks, guys, I saw the NHLPA supporting Anderson's appeal. Why are they always so quick to defend the offender, but never have done anything about the victim injured? Onion's a good question. Basically because both are members of the association and they have to protect them. It is a weird situation. There's no doubt in my mind. Right. And Terry, this may be a better question for you, having been a former member of the PA, but I guess they don't want to, they can't pick and choose. I guess it's like a defense attorney. You know what? Although I think a defense attorney can still pick their cases, but you know what? If you're a member of the union, then you have the right to an appeal. That's just part of the process, but it definitely doesn't look great, right? Where it looks like the PA is like, oh yeah, we support the guy here, but yeah, we really support you, Patrick. But you know what? If Anderson gets one fewer game, oh well. So it's definitely a mixed message kind of situation.
Yeah, I always found that. I mean, it's the nature of it, though, right? What else are you going to do? And sometimes it's a judgment call. I get it, but it is. Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a kink in the system there, right?
Yeah, I don't know really how else you'd get away with it. Also, hey, con man, I'm pretty sure that's my buddy, the Onion. There's not many people nicknamed the Onion, and he's also in Lethbridge. I got to check out number, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's unreal. It's one of the greatest nicknames of all time, the Onion. Oh, awesome. He's a beauty of a guy. Nice. Because I think his nephew's getting married. The Onion might be coming to town soon. Feel free to call me. Let's get to our footy report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charge. If all of a sudden you woke up today and you're like, furnace isn't really up to speed, call Legacy. They'll come fix it tonight. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. As we are joined from One Soccer and the CBC Sports, Andi Petrillo joins us once again. And Andy, your spidey sense was bang on a few weeks ago when you said you thought that Christine Sinclair was going to retire, and she had the post with her cleats tied on the over the goalpost, and obviously she is retiring. She's the she retires with quite the legacy, having won an Olympic gold medal, the most goals ever by a woman in professional football / soccer. It's an amazing career, but man, those are some real big cleats to fill. Like, I don't even know if you can realistically. Like, what's the option here for the national program when they move? Because they knew it was inevitable, but still, that's a pretty big space now opened up.
It is. And I mean, this is, as you mentioned, I mean, it was expected news, but it's still sad news because at 40 years of age, she made her senior team debut at 16. There's a generation of Canadians who grew up watching this sport only knowing her to be in it. They don't really know soccer without her. They fell in love with this game, many of them, because of her. So it's really hard. I know, for the next few weeks till the end of the year, because they do have 4 more games. They have these games coming up Saturday in Montreal. Then they're going to play on the 31st in Halifax. Both those games will be against Brazil. They just announced today, December 1st, December 5th, out west in BC, where she's from. They're going to play another 2 games. Those will be against Australia. So she's going to have this proper little 4-game farewell tour. So I mean, again, it's like this is all we've ever known. Really, is Christine Sinclair. That's how long she's been around, as you mentioned. 190 goals. That's all-time international goal scorer. It's men and women. She owns the most goals at 119 internationally, and we're saying goodbye to her. And you're right. This is a generational player, and I know we throw that phrase around a lot. And I think we kind of obviously need to stop. But she truly is this generational player, and I think at some point, we, the media, the fans, and even maybe Canada Soccer itself, stop saying who's going to be the next Christine Sinclair, because you realized there's not going to be one, at least not for a very long time. And I feel like once this team accepted that, then it started to breathe a little bit as far as scoring by committee. because there was a lot of pressure. If a lot of people follow this game closely, it was on Jordan Huitema. There was always this belief she was going to be the next Christine Sinclair. That is so unfair. That's like, yo, who's going to be the next Connor McDavid? Excuse me? Like, I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And that was kind of this pressure that this poor player in Jordan Huitema, was given, and she didn't ask for it. And then suddenly it's like this light bulb went off, and it's like, no, it's not going to be one player. It's going to be scoring by committee. It's going to be certain tactics. It's going to be a certain way that Bev Priestman needs to kind of line everybody up on the field. And that's how you fill those shoes. So I think it's going to be more by committee than anything, Jason. And we've seen that, right? We've already, in those last 2 qualifiers against Jamaica, with Bev Priestman playing this 3-5-2, you already saw a system starting to develop that no longer includes Christine Sinclair, because she was always the number 9. You plopped her at the front, get her the ball, let her do the work.
Yeah.
That's over and done with. That's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah. Is Janine, I think Janine Becky's obviously the best striker Canada has now. And it's unfair for anyone to say, okay, well, now they're going to look at her to replace all the goals, because I don't think it's fair for one person, but you're still going to need to rely on somebody to be kind of your go-to. Is it going to be Janine, or is there someone else?
Well, I mean, with Janine, we'll see, because she obviously is fantastic on that wing, and that's why they missed her greatly at the World Cup, obviously recovering from an ACL injury. But Adriana Leon has stepped up big time. And I think if you're looking maybe at that out-and-out number 9, obviously there's still hope that Jordan Huitema can kind of be that middle player. We've looked at Chloe Lacasse. Again, these are players that bomb in from the wings. They have a ton of speed, but Chloe Lacasse looks fantastic. Nichelle Prince, Deanne Rose, who's been dealing with injuries, she'll be back in this camp. So, I mean, I could go on and on. Even in your midfield position, we all love Jessie Fleming. This is the face of this team as well. I wouldn't be surprised if she's given the armband. So, there's so many I could name that could really fill those shoes. But, Adriana Leon really put in a lot of goals for this team, despite her not having a settled pro career. She signed with Manchester United. We were all stoked. We're like, oh my goodness, right? Like, there's a Canadian playing, for Man U. Didn't get any playing time, had to make the move to NWSL. Wasn't getting the playing time that she wanted. Now she's back in the WSL. So hopefully, that'll work out for her. But no matter what, she always showed up and contributed to the national team and scored goals. So, and then Chloe Lacasse to me is somebody who's on the up and up. And then you're right. When Janine Becky's healthy and ready to go, watch out, because she can play in so many places on that pitch. And I can't stress it enough, Jason, how much Janine Becky was missed at the World Cup. I think some people just, forget, or maybe just didn't realize how important she is to that lineup.
Andi, so Christine Sinclair announces her retirement from international, but has she mentioned anything about professionally?
Yeah.
Okay, so she has. And how does the Hall of Fame work? I'm just curious what goes down there, because obviously, I mean, if this is ice hockey, it's just first ballot. She just walks in, and obviously it's not, but she's the best player on the planet, the most successful man or woman to ever come along and score internationally. So how does this work?
Well, I think with the Canada Soccer Hall of Fame, like, you're putting her in. I don't think there's any waiting period. That's actually a really good question, because I never looked into whether or not you have to wait a certain amount of time after you've retired. I don't think so. She's automatic into that Hall of Fame, that's for sure. And yes, so she made the announcement that she's definitely going to play one more year with the Portland Thorns. In fact, they're in the playoffs. So after these 2 games here, November 5th, their semifinal kicks off. So she'll be playing in that. They are the reigning champions. So she's going to try and go for another title with Portland Thorns. Here's my other guess. And maybe in a year, Jason, you can hold me to this. My educated guess. Okay. She's going to play one more year with Portland. And if everything goes according to plan with Diana Matheson's Project 8, which of course is to get the domestic league here in Canada.
Yeah.
She's hoping to launch in 2025. So my guess is one more year Portland Thorns, and then Christine will play one more year pro, but it will be in Project 8. She'll play in that first year of that league, get it going, lend her status to it as she should, try to get people to come out to games, and then I think she will sail into the sunset. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So, I think Christine kind of understands, and she doesn't have to. I'm going to make that abundantly clear. If she chose to walk away, I would never hold it against any player. But, obviously she's still in pretty good shape. She's still very effective. She's Portland, one of their best players still. So I don't think that in 2 years that everything's just going to fall apart for her by any stretch. So, you know what? Diane Masson's a teammate. Hey, come on, Since or whatever they called her. I'm sure they could
Sinky
to get in to play, and that would be a huge one. It's like, look at Messi right now in Florida, right? Like he comes in and people are now. I'm not saying that the crowd's going to be there, but there'd be a lot of young Canadian soccer fans who would want to go watch her to say, hey, I got to watch one of the all-time greats live, and I think she'd perform very well. So I like that prediction. It makes a lot of sense to kind of see what's going to come up next in regards to her career and potentially where she can go from there. Now, what about like her legacy? Is it too easy to kind of write her legacy?
Whew. You know what? I think this is the thing whenever you're talking about people who have done things that have rallied a nation. You risk being a little too hyperbolic, but at the same time, you don't want to do her such a disservice that you don't talk about what she's meant to this country. And I think for people, you have to understand, a lot of people never really talked about soccer. A lot of people still aren't really fans of soccer, but they know who Christine Sinclair is. That's when you know you've transcended a sports barrier. When even if your sport is still not the most popular, you're still a name people know because you made people feel things that, again, only sports can really make you feel. This was a country who wasn't expected to do much. They were dead last at the 2011 World Cup. They go to the Olympics in 2012. They take on their arch nemesis, the Americans, in the semifinal. Christine Sinclair scores a hat trick. The look in her eye, she put that team on her back and said, follow me. And then it was a referee decision that ruined it for Canada. And then they lose that game to the United States. But then we all heard it. Like everyone came out afterwards and said she went into that locker room and everyone was brought to tears when she said, there is no way we're going home without a medal. And they bring home the bronze. Then at the 2016 Olympics, she said the same thing. This, by the way, was coming off of a home World Cup in 2015, where, she gets that crucial goal against China in the opening group stage game to make sure that at a home World Cup, you don't get embarrassed. They end up getting eliminated in the quarterfinals. But this is also somebody who at the 2016 Olympics, when they got bronze again, had no problem telling the country, I'm ticked off with this color. I didn't want this color. I wanted it to be better than bronze. And then, of course, the whole mantra going into Tokyo was change the color. And they did just that. And I thought it was pretty prophetic that she scored the opening goal for Canada in Tokyo. But in that gold medal game, it was the youngsters. It was the next generation. It was a lot of the players who she helped inspire, even start playing the game, who stepped up because that game went to penalties. They scored the goals. She's an Olympic champion. She brought this nation to its feet. She brought this nation together when it never thought it could come together over the sport of soccer. So, if I'm trying to talk about some legacy here, that's the best I can say is again, even if you're not a fan of the sport, her name. That says something.
Do you think she'll stay connected by coaching, managing, scouting? Has she mentioned anything?
She said she goes, oh man, I have no interest in coaching. But maybe she would be like a striker coach. So she'd be a specialty coach. She's mentioned that, not an actual team coach. So she said that could be a possibility, but who knows? I mean, Sinclair, she's an introvert, right? Like she's something special. Oftentimes, the athletes, because the athlete is bigger than life, we want the person to be bigger than life. But sometimes the person is like the ultimate introvert and just wants to be left alone. So it's always this constant tug of war because you always want so much of their time. But to them, when they give you their time as an athlete, they're like, no, that's enough. When I go on that field for 90 minutes, that's my time. Leave me alone, right? So honestly, Terry, I keep picturing that Homer Simpson gif where he just disappears into the bushes. I just kind of feel like that would be Christine, where she's like, all right, I played my final game now, whoop, and then bye-bye. But I will say this, I do think she'll lend her voice a lot more to the women's game, right? Trying to get that domestic league, trying to help bridge that gap between prize money. And, so I think she's definitely going to lend her expertise a little bit more now to that fight that happens off the pitch.
Andi Petrillo joins us on Monday afternoons here on Sports 1440. We have quite the rematch, Andy, in the CPL final this coming weekend. Who do you like?
Oh my! You know what? I flip a coin, man. This is what I love about this final, is that you can make an argument for both. So you have Cavalry and you have Forge, which I love that this is a rivalry as well. By the way, that happened organically. Oftentimes we think rivalries are like geographical. So if you're close to each other, that's what it'll be. Like it's Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, or or it's like Edmonton and Vancouver. But like oftentimes, your rivalry just has to happen on its own. And this is what's happened between a team in Hamilton and a team in Calgary. It makes zero sense, but because they faced each other in Canadian Championship play, because they faced each other as well in the first ever final of the Canadian Premier League in 2019, and the in-betweens, this is a great rematch. And, I think I kind of explained it before how the CPL is doing the playoffs this year. They already played each other in the playoffs. It was a semifinal playoff game, if that's what we're going to call it, to determine who would go straight to the final.
Okay.
Forge won. Cavalry is the best team in the regular season this year. They had an incredible year. So for a longer period of time, they are the better team. Then come playoff time, they can't beat Forge. They lost to Forge. They had to go through Pacific, the team in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island. Now they beat Pacific, first ever time they win a playoff game. Now they get this rematch with Forge. So it's kind of like the history that's between these two teams. And I can't tell you because, again, Cavalry over the season, of course, they're the better team. Forge is a team that's won the CPL title 3 of the last 4 years. You're not exactly counting a team like that out. So that's why it's just like, get the popcorn, sit down, watch, because who knows? Once that final whistle goes, anybody's guess who's going to win.
The Vancouver Whitecaps were the only Canadian team to make the playoffs. Toronto and Montreal, where are they at in your eyes? What has to happen in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to Vancouver. They're going to be playing LAFC, the defending MLS Cup champions. And I feel like, again, that could be a coin toss between those two teams. So Vancouver is the lone Canadian representative. But for CF Montreal and Toronto, I mean, Toronto, that's an easy one. It was an abysmal year. It was their worst year on record. Coaching change, big money spent on two of the Italians who can't produce, fracturing within the team. They make the announcement as well of, John Herdman on August 28th that he's going to be the head coach, but he doesn't actually coach his first game until October 21st. It was all very bizarre. Who knows what's going on there? Like, I don't know, drop a bomb, just blow it all up and then try to pick up the pieces. Like, that's literally what I would say with Toronto. It is that bad. So I'm going to, a lot of people are going to be keeping a close eye on that offseason because major changes need to happen. And if they don't, then it's the same old, unless all of a sudden John Herdman truly is this master motivator that we've all said that he is, and he can suddenly find something in these players, to play for next year. But with CF Montreal, I think what was really disappointing is that a lot of what happened with them wasn't even so much on the field as it was off. A lot of people, former employees, and if they weren't former, they're former now, because they all took to social media and completely bashed ownership. And they said, you're not spending money. You're trying to operate on a shoestring budget. And it really showed. I mean, this was a team on decision day, which was this past weekend. Their fate wasn't exactly in their own hands. They needed the New York Red Bulls to lose. The New York Red Bulls score a goal in the 94th minute. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So it eliminates CF Montreal. They did everything they can. Hernan Losada, the new coach, did everything he can with that squad to get them even where they were. But I think a lot of fans, they're not stupid. They look at the ownership and said, you didn't spend any money. We lost massive players in the offseason and you did nothing to replace them. So again, that's an offseason where I think a lot of people are going to say, are they going to finally open up the wallet and are they going to bring in some good players here? So that's TFC to me, rebuild, CF Montreal, spend money and bring in some key players.
Andi, great stuff. Great to talk to you as always. We will chat with you next Monday.
Thanks for having me.
That is Andi Petrillo from One Soccer and CBC. 420. When we return, your chance to qualify to get in where you can win prizes for yourself. But most importantly, you're going to be able to gift someone a brand new furnace. We'll tell you how next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The Bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents stop pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling. Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some, at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's a triumphant return to the airwaves. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork, and this is a great call. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, eagerly rejoining his team on Sports 1440.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents stop pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try their new butter chicken pizza made with velvety, tangy, sweet sauce topped with juicy grilled chicken, green peppers, and onions. Large butter chicken pizza for just $19.99 for a limited time at papajohns.ca.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. As it is time, we've got a lot of text to get to in a second, but it's time for Help Your Neighbor. This is the second year we have done this. We team up, and a big shout out to Legacy Heating and Cooling, because they're very generous as they supply the grand prize and part of the prize for the nominator. So here's how it works. Every day in the 4 o'clock hour, starting today all the way for the next 4 weeks, we will have a contest where you can qualify to help your neighbor. Now, it doesn't have to be your neighbor per se, but somebody who resides outside of your home, somebody who has to own their own home, and they have to reside within 100 kilometers of Edmonton, which is, pretty good range, east, north, south, or west. Today will be our first qualifier. And then you're the qualifier. You're essentially the nominator for somebody, because you're going to nominate someone in your circle, whether it's a coworker, family member who does not reside with you, right? A friend, a neighbor, just somebody who is in need of a new furnace, right? Because when we originally thought of the contest, I was like, well, what if somebody who wins it just has a new furnace, right? That's not good. We want to help other people. And it worked out incredibly well last year. There was lots of people who know someone who's going through a tough time. We all know the bills are super tight right now. So this isn't for you. This is going to be for someone else. Now, you do get something. You get to go into the draw to win the Google Nest or Ecobee Smart Thermostat, and you get a pair of seats to the Oilers Wild game on Friday, December 8th. Pretty fun night out. It's always good to reward yourself by helping out someone else, but you'll probably feel better when you get to gift them the furnace from Legacy Heating. So, first day, we're going to make it very easy. You can text in 833-401-1440. You include your first name. We obviously will have your phone number. And for today, to make it easy, the code word will be legacy. Text in the word legacy and your name, one entry per person. And then we will pick someone. Connor will call you. We'll announce the name, and you'll be the first person in. And then you will have a few weeks to decide. Actually, we'll probably call you to assure you. I think we have to call you, get you on the air for the legalities of the contest. So we'll do that. All right. So 833-401-1440. Some days we'll have callers. Some days we'll maybe even do trivia. But today it's going to be very easy. It's first day. Everybody's in. Your name and the word legacy. 833-401-1440. Imagine being able to gift someone a brand new high-efficiency furnace. It's a 2-stage standard gas furnace. Comes with the Honeywell T4 thermostat. Gets all your permits, the inspection fee, all of that's covered. They're even going to remove and dispose of the old furnace in the house. You get a 5-year labor and 10-year parts warranty. It's great value. Remember, the person you're going to gift it to has to own their home and reside within 100 kilometers of Edmonton. So there you go. 833-401-1440. We'll give everybody, because I know some of you listen online. You're like, hey, there's a delay. I'm getting screwed over. Don't worry. Don't worry. We will give 3 minutes to text in. Away we go. Meanwhile, we have lots of text to get to. TR's rant definitely hit somebody. Guys, tell TR I would pay for his flight and whatever else he needs to come here to sign a 1-day contract just to play against Rasmus Anderson. That one comes from Doug. Well, hey, if you did it once before, TR, I'm sure you could lace him up just to toss the mitts one more time, eh?
Oh, yeah, that fires me up, honestly. As a player, that was one thing that used to really bother me, when someone headhunted like that. Just that's, like I said before, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that was beyond necessary. It was completely irresponsible, and I think deserves huge punishment. But, look, when I left home to play, when I say this, I hope people don't think I'm trying to be this big tough guy. When I left at home, it was about scoring. And, whenever I stepped onto the ice, the first thing on my mind was, how am I going to get that puck into that net and keep it out of mind? Like that, always. But things happen in the game, and especially, I'm happy I went to the Western Hockey League. I really am. It taught me a lot. If nothing else, how to be a teammate. And maybe sometimes if I seem too passionate, I'd rather be that way than the other way. And I learned that through hockey, and that's the way it goes. And if Rasmus Anderson did that while I played in any league that I was in, there'd be, I definitely try to help in bringing them down.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Hey, how would Shoresy handle it, TR?
Oh, God.
Oh, it comes from Scott.
He wouldn't try it in the no-show. I don't think he'd try it in the no-show. Suspensions there they're few and far between and often lifted when it comes to Shoresy. But I'd say he would handle it by a cross-check right in the face, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey, guys, why not have a Ryan's Fancy segment? As a proud Newfoundlander, I'm sure he'll get the reference from Rockford.
Ryan's Fancy. Yeah.
Yeah.
A band.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
A good band. Ryan's Fancy, I guess, in the vein of a lot of other. If I say to you, Greg's, if I say like Newfoundland traditional music, would Irish music pop into your head? I often wonder if people realize.
Yeah, Irish Celtic music. Yeah,
like it's not all like. I mean, we've got bands, that aren't. But long distance runners who open up my podcast, they're not really Irish.
Yeah.
There are all kinds, but. For me, it's a part of our identity, that traditional, that great big C, the Irish descendants. Now we've got great rock and rollers. They're the Novaks. It's probably my favorite rock and roll band from here. Brothers in Stereo, lots of great music. We're an artistic province, and especially downtown St. John's, there's always a live band or live music playing, poetry being read, art museums, chinched. It's a very artistic place, but when it comes to Newfoundland, I really take pride in our heritage, and I guess that tweaks towards the Irish. I think that we're Irish, English, and Scottish descendants for the most part on this island. That's over 90%. But whatever reason, the Irish accent, I think, and maybe the Irish music has kind of dominated our art scene a little bit.
All right. I do like this question from Sean. TR, how would you have handled it if you're one of Rasmus Anderson's teammates?
100%. 100% give him an absolute reaming in the room. You're putting me in a bad position. You just did that. Right now, you put all of us on high alert, especially our players like Patrick Laine, not that I would be one of them. I don't know that don't need that, that aren't physical, that, are going around trying to play the same game. Because for me, again, as a player, it wouldn't just be Rasmus. I would make sure that he paid. It wouldn't always be, by hitting him. I really, the last thing I would want as a player, I hate that stuff, is this headhunting guys for no reason. But I don't know. You just gave me no option, Rasmus. You really did. Now every other player, every scorer on your team, especially if we end up playing you in the playoffs, now you've just started something, right? Now I'm going to come at anybody, and I'm mad, and I'm going to do it. And not only am I going to hurt you, I'm going to see if I can finish every check on your teammates. I'm going to be as hard as I possibly can. You just opened up a ball of wax for no reason. There was no reason behind it. I guess that's the most frustrating thing to me, is there's no reason for it. Now, not only have you enraged another team, and honestly, if it's me, by extension, a union, but your whole team's going to have to pay for it now. So it's not only irresponsible for yourself, I think it's irresponsible as a player on your team, as a teammate.
I like it. Connor Halley is going to, I think he's going through all of the texts right now, and he puts it in the machine, and then he picks a random number. Then he'll get the texter, and he'll call them, and they come on the air, and to ensure that they are our first qualifier for Help Your Neighbor, where you are going to win a gift for yourself, which gets the Ecobee Smart Thermostat, or the Google Nest for your home. Get that all installed from Legacy, and get a pair of great seats in the lower bowl where the Oilers attack twice against the Wild on Friday, December 28th. Who doesn't like a little Friday game? Should be fun. And then, maybe most importantly, not maybe, for sure, if your name's picked out on Monday, the 20th of November, in a month from today, then you will be able to gift a brand new high-efficiency furnace to someone that whether it's a coworker, family member, friend, you name it, neighbor, anybody that you know who needs a furnace. So this gives you a little time to research, to say, hey, this is who I know. Now, the only rules are the person has to own their house that you're gifting it to. They have to reside from 100 kilometers within Edmonton. And they cannot be your spouse or partner, right? Common law, whatever it is. You cannot reside in the same place as they do. Okay? So that's the only rule. It's pretty good. So I hear Con Man on the phone right now, dialing up. If your phone's ringing from a number, be sure to answer it. All right? Cons will call you twice. If you don't answer, it's just bad luck. It goes to the next person. All right. Cons, who's our qualifier today?
The qualifier today is Chris.
Chris, congratulations. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Jason. How are you?
Hey, I'm excellent, man. You are the first qualifier, the second annual Help Your Neighbor. So you're going to have a 1 in 20 chance to win the prize for yourself, but more importantly, for someone else. Do you know anyone right off the top of your head that is in need of a new furnace?
Not 100% sure. My brother's in an older house, so he might be a qualifier or somebody that needs one. So
all right,
I'm just not sure if they've gotten one.
Well, there you go. You got a few weeks to figure it out. So you do a little research, because what happens is once we have all the qualifiers, and Connor calls us, so we know who you're going to recommend before we do the draw. So that's the only other stipulation I should put in. So you got a few weeks, and then you know what? Connor's going to get all your email and everything off the air, and then we'll get all that information leading up to it. But congratulations, and you are in.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, there you go. The other thing is every qualifier should mention they get a Sports 1440 hat as well. So we'll get you a hat. So you win something automatically. There you go. So we'll do it again tomorrow in the 4:00 hour. When we come back, we have 5 questions. Also, spec. Kevin Woodley will join us at 5:20. Many of you I know are waiting with our goalie segment with Kevin Woodley. Lots on the orders. The new site, the new Edge at the NHL, you know, it has a lot of different things: shot velocity, high danger, mid-range. Kevin's been tracking a lot of this with SportLogic and other places, Clear Sight Analytics for years. Does he see similarities? That's coming up at 5:20 on the Jason Gregor Show with Terry Ryan, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Orders Nation YouTube.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
That's awesome. Thanks, Franco. You're a lifesaver.
So when's the photocopier going to be fixed?
Today.
Really? That's impossible. Nobody does same-day service.
Corporate Business Solutions does.
Nobody believes it, but it's true. Corporate Business Solutions provides guaranteed same-day service to all CBS customers. CBS is your industry leader in sales, leasing, and service of multifunctional office equipment. Call Franco Sorgiovanni's team of sales professionals at CBS for all your office equipment needs. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Full service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with 5-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? with extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around. Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sprucegrovesaints.ca.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Ours costs less than Wetaskiwin.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. They've continued developing tools and are excited to announce their newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's actually true. My son wanted to play flag football, so I've been teaching him. I'm like Kramer, man, crushing the 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Hey, you know what? You got I don't think there's anything wrong with crushing your kids in sports. Teaches them character. Obviously, I'm joking. Well, kind of. So, well, you know what? You read all the books, and when they're young age, they need to win a little bit, and then it slowly erodes. And now it's like, you know what? Hey, certain things, I definitely have to try a lot harder than I used to. There's no doubt about that. My son was doing cross country. I think I might be able to beat him maybe in a kilometer race. Definitely in longer than 1 kilometer, but in a kilometer be tight. Like he was running sub 5 minutes this past year. So I was like, 9 years old. So yeah, and he wasn't even the fastest kid in his class. Yeah, this Henry kid, he just couldn't beat him. Well, Henry was crushing it. So there you go. TR, are you a runner? Can you run?
No, I got to do it for ball hockey, right? I do a lot of running, but I hate long distances. And the reason, I guess I find it really hard to go outside after being so athletic and playing team sports, that just to run in one direction and just like run and just go in that direction for 3 hours. I just find it like, why can't I just have a ball? Like at least give me volleyball or something. At least give me a basketball. I'm not great, but just put me out on the court. I'll get the running in, but I need a ball or a point of a sport is almost hypnotic to me. I don't realize I'm going as hard as I did. That's why every day, honestly, at least 5 days a week, I'm out there playing shinny. We get a good group here, like former pros and senior players at noon, because I like to get it in. I go way harder than I go at the gym. I know that. So I try to play ball hockey or ice hockey every day, and that's generally how I stay in shape because I hate running so much.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I respect the runners. It's such a mental grind. No question about it. Now you see though, like the world records, like their marathon in 2 hours. Like, are you kidding me? That is one of the greatest individual feats I have seen, man. Like it is unreal to be able to run that fast. That's like running 100 meters in 15 seconds for 2 consecutive hours.
Incredible.
Just so you know, people think how many people can run a 100-meter dash in 15 seconds right now? I'm going to guess maybe 40% of the population. Maybe. So, and that number will get lower the older we get for sure. So let's just say anybody under the age of 50, maybe 50% of people under the age of 50 could run a 100 meter in 15 seconds. But then you got to do that for 2 straight hours. Trust me, there's very few, actually none of us, other than the select marathon freaks who can do it. And I say freaks in a polite way because that's amazing, man. It's utterly amazing to be able to push yourself that fast, that long, and be like, yeah, I got it, baby. And like when they cross the finish line, they don't even look tired.
And then go out every day and work on it. And like, just to get like, oh, great. I just went 2 hours and I got a fraction of a second better. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like, wow, I find it Absolutely. I really admire it because there's no,
I totally
like,
with
to
you,
me, it's a real mental grind. Like, I got to really, really get to the point that Jason, honestly, you asked me, I do. I go out, if I haven't done anything all day and I need some cardio, I'll run, but I go out and I'll like pick 2 telephone poles and I'll sprint between those and then I'll walk. Then I'll fast walk. I'll jog hard, then I'll sprint. I got to mix it up, man. It's
Do you
got to
mix?
be.
Are you?
It's all
Do you
mental
have
for
like
me.
a race walking? Do you race
I don't
walk?
look funny doing it like the Olympic runners, but it just looks too silly to me.
out there wiggling his hips. Hey, what's happening down the street?
No,
oh my God. Take it all in, ladies. Take it all in.
No. And I'm usually on like one of the trails closely. I don't like going out on the street either.
Okay. Oh God, we got to get a video of you race walking. Gosh, that's so funny, man. Like you know what? Race walking, again, I have all the respect for people who do it. I don't understand why though. Like, of all the athletic endeavors I'd want to try, race walking, I'm sorry. Right? I don't like, and then we got some great race walkers right now in the country. Good for them. I'm just like, I'm sorry. That's not.
How do you get into it?
Like,
does someone grow up and go, you know what? I want to be the best race walker when they're like 8. I want to be some little girls out there saying, I want to be Christine Sinclair. Someone is saying, I want to be the best race walker on the planet.
Yeah. Evan Dunphy, right? Isn't he the Evan Dunphy? I think he's the.
I have no idea because I'm being honest with you. You said I got all the respect for them. I don't. I should. I feel bad that I don't, but I don't have a whole lot of respect for it, or else I mean, I could lie to you and say I did. I'm sure they're athletes. I have respect for their cardio, whatever they do. They're the best at it. But it's on TV, and I'd rather
must
watch
be good dancers, man.
Noise.
They must be good dancers. Like, they got some swivel in their hips. They got to be able to move their hips around for sure, right? But it's like dressage. I'm sorry, anybody who does dressage, but seriously, what are we doing?
I'm just not into it.
What are we doing? Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. And you know what you can do at The Brick right now? Right now, it's the Scratch and Save event, and you only have a few days left, so you can get up to 40% more savings. There is over $115,000 in instant prizes to be won. Check it out right now for the next few days at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. In the absence of Connor McDavid for however long it may be, which Oiler do you think is most likely to step up and take advantage of the opportunity?
I'd like to see Holloway, like I said. I hope they give him the chance, but who's most likely? I would think Kane. Now, is that stepping up? He's already a big guy on the team, but that's what I'll go with.
Yeah, well, he's the guy who needs to step up, right? Like Holloway, Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl produced. Fogle, could he go in a little bit of a heater, I guess. But yeah, Kane's the obvious answer. I'm going to say, though, the people that need to step up the most are going to be the goaltenders.
That leads great into my next question. Who do you think is the Oilers' best goaltender, and how close is it when it comes to the debate?
Well, right now, and the great part about this question is, Cons, what my answer is today could be very different in 2 or 3 weeks. But right now, today, I think it's Jack Campbell. You know what? There's some numbers you can look at for Campbell. Save percentage obviously favors Jack Campbell. But then, you kind of dig a little bit deeper into the numbers and, like save shots, like high danger chances. Campbell has faced 25. He stopped 19. He has a 760 save percentage. Skinner's faced 15. He stopped 8. So 533 save percentage. Not good. Mid-range shots, Campbell, 943 save percentage. Skinner, 842. Long-range shots, Campbell's perfect. Hasn't allowed one. Skinner, 889. So right now it's Jack Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, it's tight, right? And they both have had some consistency issues, but I don't know. Campbell, look, he's a guy that I've always thought had a few holes there, but he has been at times a real good goalie. Of the two, he's the veteran presence. And he made the NHL All-Star team one year. And he has better numbers right now. So for those reasons, I will say Campbell slightly ahead.
Question number 3, with the season over for the Elks, what, if any, changes do you see happening to this team when it comes to coaching staff, front office?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm qualified to answer this, but what I do know is that, Chris Jones, right? He's the GM and he's the coach. And doesn't he have another role with the team or two?
Yeah, he's a defensive coordinator. Yep.
Okay, so I know that much. I think obviously you would probably lighten his load a little bit, but who am I to say?
Connor, this is a fantastic question because there has to be change in the management structure of the team. There just has to be. You can't bring back. I outlined the numbers. As GM and head coach and DC, because he's done all three for 5 years in Saskatchewan and Edmonton, Chris Jones has a record of 35 wins and 55 losses. He is 8-28 in Edmonton, back-to-back 4-14 seasons. How can you bring that back again? It makes no sense to me. So there's going to be a change with Jones. I just don't know. Is it going to be everything? Will he agree to stick in one role? The problem is the GM job is the one role that he's had the least success at. When he was just a head coach in DC, he had a success. He won because he had a GM who did the scouting and everything else, kept him kind of in place. As a GM, no. So I'm going to say all three will be new because I'd be surprised if Chris Jones. The only way I think it could work, because they worked together before, is if they brought in Ed Hervey because he worked with Chris Jones, and Chris Jones could say, okay, I've had success with Ed. I get it. But that's a pretty big what if.
Question number 4, with the NBA season quickly approaching, who do you think will win the league's MVP this season?
It's a great question, Cons. I look at this year and, man, there's a lot of parity at the top in the NBA. There's lots of teams like the LA Lakers. Remember, they were terrible last year to start. I think they were like 2-12 or something ridiculous, and then they actually improved quite a bit. And they've got some good depth behind their two big men in LA. Obviously, Phoenix has a lot. The Golden State Warriors are still very good. We see Damian Lillard now with the Greek Freak in Milwaukee. You have the Celtics. You got the 76ers. Man, there's lots of good teams at the top. So MVP, it's hard to go against a joker. He didn't win last year. The guy gets triple doubles for fun. So I'll go with the joker.
It's a great pick. Guys, midsummer, I would have said Jason Tatum. But since the Lillard trade, I'll say Giannis.
Ooh,
I think it changed I think it turned the tables enough that if I had to be a betting man right now, which I never do at the beginning of the season, but that's who I'd bet on.
And Giannis reportedly agreeing to a 3-year extension worth $186 million just in the last couple minutes here. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? They went out and the ownership did, because he talked about, hey, remember, and he was honest. He just said, hey, I might go somewhere where I feel I have a better chance to win. Well, they went out and they got him a really good player. Now he stays there. So there you go.
And a good player that's not a nut, by the way. A lot of these basketball guys that move every year, you can't predict anything. But I think Lillard's the real deal, and I think he'll help. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, final question, guys. Doug Flutie celebrating his birthday today. So my question for you guys, who, in your opinion, we're talking all time here, is the best or your favorite undersized athlete?
Now, I'm going to go with my favorite undersized athlete story first, okay? I'm going to keep this brief. But I'm going to say the 40s or 50s, the Chicago White Sox brought up to bat Eddie Gaedel. And Eddie Gaedel, I don't know how you say it today, politically correct, little person, I think.
Sure.
He was 3 foot odd. And he's one of the only major leagues ever had one at bat, and he got a walk. Okay? So to me, and he was a little bit of a folk hero. I love the story. I love that it went down. It kind of finishes a little bit tragic. He got killed walking home from a bowling alley, as I believe it. He was about 40 years old. He wasn't an old man. And he's a little bit of a folk hero. And I believe to this day, like, his autograph goes for like big money because there's not many of them. That's definitely my favorite story. But my favorite small athlete would probably be Diego Maradona. I mean, I remember as a kid, people telling me soccer was boring and then going, I don't understand. Like, because I would watch that guy and he would just be so dynamic. And I realize now, looking back, that how unique he was. And I don't find soccer that boring, but I'm saying at the time, I just remember that being a contradiction in my head. And the last thing I will say, guys, so there's my 2 favorites. I apologize because I often say these things and I want people to trust my word. And a couple of shows ago, I mentioned to you that Sheb Woolley the musician who wrote Purple People Eater in the 60s, was in Shawshank. Now, he wasn't, but James Whitmore was, and they were on Rawhide together when they were younger. So what happened, I looked into it. I said, I was positive about that. But Rawhide, Clint Eastwood, the first screen time Clint Eastwood ever got. So I found the show interesting as a kid, but I guess I mixed them both up because they were both in it at 2 or 3 episodes at least together. And I thought all the way that Sheb Wooley was James Whitmore, and they don't look too far different. But anyway, there was at least some truth in the nucleus of my story, but I wanted to correct myself. Otherwise, I mean, how can I call myself a man of my word if I'm lying on the air?
All right, TR. I like it. And Diego Maradona was 5'5", so he definitely would qualify. I'm probably going to go with Spud Webb. You know what? You win the slam dunk competition, and you're that tiny. It's hard not to, right? He's 5'6", and man, when he won it, he was like, that was in the heyday of MJ and a few other elite Dominique Wilkins, like elite dunkers. So I'll go with Spud Webb. Cons?
I mean, in the same conversation, he was a little taller, 5'9", but Nate Robinson winning 3 dunk contests was always impressive. But as a homer, I got to go with a Charger and say Darren Sproles, 5'6", 190. Great little player in the backfield and great return man as well. So I go with Darren Sproles.
4:59. TR, have yourself a wonderful week. We will talk to you on Thursday.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. And I will see you guys again soon. I'll catch you on the rebound.
There you go. That is Terry Ryan, of course, from Shoresy. He's got a love interest this year. That's why he's so happy right now. Well, Hitch's got a love interest in Shoresy. Check it out. Let's get to Connor Halley in a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Edmonton Kubota, your number one stop. If you're looking for compact BX tractor, because right now you can get one. 0% financing for 84 months. Shop online at EdmontonKubota.com or go in-store just north of the Yellowhead on 156th Street.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, just one game on the schedule. The Canadiens in Buffalo taking on the Sabres. That one gets going in a few moments. The Oilers off the ice tonight. They'll be in action tomorrow without their captain as they are in Minnesota. Puck drop at 7. The Bakersfield Condors have signed forward Sam Gagner to a 1-year deal. Gagner had double hip surgery in March, ending his season. He signed a PTO with the Oilers this past summer. Week 7 in the NFL wraps up tonight with the Vikings hosting the Niners. Kickoff 6:15. You can watch this one with me at the North Edmonton Canadian Brewhouse for your chance to qualify for a trip to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Major League Baseball playoffs continuing on. Heading into the 6th in Philadelphia, the Diamondbacks lead the Phillies 4-1. Philly up in that series 3-2. And later tonight, the Rangers meet the Astros. Game 7 of the ALCS. And from the association, Giannis Antetokounmpo has signed a 3-year, $186 million contract extension, according to ESPN. Coming up in Hour 4 of The Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
The Canadian Boo House is back with its frightfully delightful with fun foolery and the finest Halloween hijinks. Boo House GCs to be won. $100, $250, even $500 as we ignite your fright night with shot specials of Jack Daniels and $1.50 off tankards of Blue Moon. Plus, freakishly delicious newfangled Frank and Dangle, only $5.99 all night long. The Boo Crew awaits you at your favorite haunt, the Canadian Brew House.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Can you believe that summer is over and fall is here? With that in mind, we are offering free furnace upgrades from Daikin, should you be looking to get a new furnace. This means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. Plus, Daikin has the best warranty in the business. There's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. We know how important a good furnace is in Edmonton, so don't procrastinate as this is a limited time offer. Visit wjheats.com today.
What does 3 decades of perfecting your craft look like? Ask the guys at Leduc Goldsmiths, locally run and bringing you nothing but quality work and service. Built from the ground up through family, from generation to generation, uncle to nephew, father to son. The pride in their family jewelry store is the pride you take home, bringing you custom and repair work. But it's their face-to-face service that keeps you coming back. Leduc Goldsmiths on Main Street, Leduc. Leduc's jewelry store, family owned and operated for over 30 years.
Portions of this hour brought to you by BIE Engineering, your structural engineering specialist. Whether you're in the process of a renovation or building your dream home, BIE can help you out. Go to BIEENG.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I want you to please take me home. Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. I want you to please take me home.
Just after 5 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As I mentioned, go to PlayAlberta.ca. That's our parlay tonight. Of course, every day on the Jason Gregor Show, we make a wager, $20, and usually we do 3 games. And tonight, it's 3 different sports because there's one sport going on in the NFL. One game, I should say. One game in the MLB playoffs. Game 7. How could you not like a Game 7? And one game in the National Hockey League. That's it. So, there you go. Get your trifecta at PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, Montreal and Buffalo are just set to get underway. And, hey, we'll find out in the Spec Report, who do you like in Game 7? This is a game to watch tonight, baby. And then tomorrow, of course, if you don't know, all 32 NHL teams will be in action. First time I think that's happened on a weekday. And they're going to have them staggering start times every 15 minutes. Whew. Now, I know some people are like, oh, this is terrible. There's one game today and one game on Wednesday. And I'm like, seriously? What's the big deal? I think the NHL should go dark every Monday, to be honest. You play a lot of games on Friday, Sunday. You can have a day off, do whatever. And then you're excited for watch on Tuesday. That's just me. We'll see. Let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GSK Construction, great company that's poised to celebrate their 50th year next year. Also, they are hiring. So you want to work for a company that's got stability, that's going good places, great culture? Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us once again. And Spec, let's start first of all. We'll get to McDavid and everything in a second, but the NHL had their memo out about the draft, and they're thinking about going to an NFL style like draft where all the kids still go. You know, you're in the city, it's the draft, the commissioner's there. You just don't have all the teams there because the draft and free agency now are so close together. The kids still get their moment on stage. You're just not going to be greeted by what's growing. It used to be 1 or 2 people per organization. Now it's like half the organizations up there. What do you make of this? And do you think it's going to happen in 25?
Well, I will say to you that I don't like it. I mean, I think that I love the chance to meet, certainly as a reporter, I love the chance to meet the kids that get drafted, get a chance to do a story on them, get a chance to shake their hand.
They'll all still be there.
What's that?
The kids will all still be there. Just it won't be the NHL executive.
The first round kids will be there, right? The first round kids will be there. Are you telling me that the second round kids and the third round kids will be there? I doubt it.
I would think some might be, but you're right. Maybe not. Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know, that's what I'm kind of talking about. Sure, the SARs in the first round, they're going to be there. But, you know, I like what they're doing. I like the draft. It's a hockey festival in any given town for a few days. It's certainly, as a journalist, it's a convention of hockey people, right? A convention of scouts and GMs and assistant GMs and stats people and coaches, and everybody's there. I love that as a guy that covers the game. I guess I'd ask you, Jay, what's going to make it better by leaving 90% of the people at home and having a smaller thing and having everybody spread out in their own hometowns? How's that going to improve the experience? What do you say?
Well, I don't know if it improves it for the players. I think it improves it from a league perspective because they feel now the draft and free agency, everything's so tight together that, you know, they're flying across, they're back and forth, that they don't necessarily want to do it. Now, I have a lot of ideas to say, well, hey, how about this, Einsteins? Have the draft and then don't have free agency. I know they want to end their season, so they'll probably never do it sooner than later, but we used to have the draft on the 24th, right? And then it was like 7 days. Now, all of a sudden, it's the final weekend in June. And then you go right into Canada Day and free agency, which obviously, personally, I think is terrible. I don't like it on Canada. I know some fans like it, and that's fine, but it's the people that don't have to work, so I don't like it.
Me neither.
So I'm never a big fan of that. I will say this, though. I get the thrill of the draft. I totally do. But I also think at times it can be very confusing because it's one step. And for some of the, top 15 players, okay, pretty good odds. But man, you look at the odds of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round kids, right? And sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm in the NHL, but you're not close to the NHL. Like, it's still a really long ways away, right? Like, a lot of those kids aren't playing the NHL for 5 years, if ever. So, minimizing the hype, I'm not actually opposed to it, to be honest, because I think sometimes the hype, you tell everyone, yeah, I got drafted, and then everyone's like, yeah, but you never played, right? So if the draft wasn't as hype, then maybe some people wouldn't have to deal with all the disappointment of not making it, because there's lots of kids who never make it who are drafted.
Come on. That's weak. I mean, so what? Some kids aren't going to make it. Whether the draft is held privately or publicly or whatever, you're going to have the same amount of kids that get drafted and never pan out. That's just a fact. So let the kid that gets drafted have his day. Let him go down to the table and meet all the scouts. Let him be in a building. Let him have, at least if he never makes the NHL, he can say he had that experience. Now, most of the second, third, fourth, fifth round kids, they're just sitting at home waiting for their phone to ring like they did in the 50s. I don't know, man. And in terms of free agency, the NHL needs to get control of its calendar, right? They used to blame COVID that mixed up their calendar. Now they're all over the place. We're still playing Stanley Cup finals that are supposed to last games like June 24th, right? which is way too late and always has been. They're still doing free agency on the Canada Day long weekend, which is a terrible time to do it. Right? Get control of your calendar. I've been doing this 30 years, and I've been hearing a different excuse every 4 or 5 years why they can't get the free agency off of July 1st. Figure it out. It's been 30, 40 years here. Get it straight and get it better, because July 1st is awful for the draft. And if that's the reason we're going to deny all these kids to get to the draft and enjoy their day in the sun, it's a bad reason, man.
Well, I would agree with you on the part about the first. No question about it. Having the big draft day, yeah, it's nice. I don't think it's a necessity. It's a nice benefit for sure, no question. If you had it, great. If you didn't have it, you know what? Whatever. You're going to go to your camp, your development camp. You're going to get to meet the organization guys there anyway. You get taken care of really well at that point. So there's pros and cons either way.
Anyway,
now to the Edmonton Oilers, they're taking on Minnesota tomorrow. No Connor McDavid. You know what? Hey, it's to me, it's obvious who the one guy is they need to step up, because he's done a whole lot of nothing other than a great fight in 5 games with 1 assist is Evander Kane. He needs to be better. So they didn't run any lines today at practice, Beck. It was all power play and penalty kill. That's all they did. So, which might have been Jay Woodcroft's way. He likes to hide everything, or maybe it was a scheduled special teams day. Who knows? But what do you think? Do you have Kane and Hyman split up? So one of them's with McDavid. One's with Draisaitl and one's with Nugent Hopkins. Or do you just put Kane with Draisaitl and Hyman and keep the Nugent Hopkins, Fogle, Janmark line together, and then put Holloway with McLeod and Brown?
Well, it depends. There's 2 schools of thought here. Yeah, Kane needs to pick it up. He needs to get better. He's gone 5 games. There hasn't even been a lot of scoring chances, to be honest. I haven't liked the last 2 Nugent Hopkins games much at all. So are we, what's Woodcroft's priority here? The third line that I thought the third line had a great makeup. All I've seen is McLeod and Holloway skating around and banging bodies. They're not creating a lot of offense, right? There's no pucks ending up in the net. So what are we trying to do? Are we thinking we got to stack up one line and try to win with it? Are you looking for balance? And, I personally err on the side of balance. I'd like to see the Oilers be more of a 4-line team, and maybe with McDavid out, this is a chance to do it. So I would balance things out. You need these depth guys to start to produce something. It's Ryan McLeod hasn't been any good for 5 games. I know he's young, but he hasn't been any good. Kane hasn't got anything done. That's fair. Hyman's been, I think, pretty good this season, and he's got a couple goals to show for it. So they got some guys going, but they need way more. And they need way more help. They need some depth scoring here, man, and it's got to come pretty quick here.
Oh, without question. So, so then you're going to put, Hyman with Nugent Hopkins, Kane with Draisaitl, and then just figure out the rest?
I guess, and figure out the rest. Who's your right wingers on those lines? Connor Brown, I know why he's got nothing done this year. I get it. But the fact is he's got nothing done this year. So are you going to put him on one of your top 2 lines? You can.
Well, no, you can probably still. Fogle's played well, right? I would put honestly, the one guy I would play with Draisaitl, I'm not sure they'll do it. In limited time, man, Fogel's done very well with Leon Draisaitl. It's very small sample size of minutes together, but when they played together, they've had success. So I don't know why. I might try Fogle with Draisaitl and Kane, and then I would run Nugent Hopkins with Hyman. And you want to put Holloway on the left side. I'm guessing they might want to put Janmark there based on the last game, and then you could have Brown, Holloway, and McLeod as a third line, and then obviously have Ernie and Ryan as your 11th forwards, because Edmonton has to go 11-7. They don't have any other bodies right now, and the only way they'll get any other body until McDavid returns is if somebody else gets hurt, and then they play 1 game with 17, and away they go. The McDavid injury, I guess, the silver lining is the schedule, because the Oilers, if McDavid's out 2 weeks, so, it's for 2 weeks from Saturday, which would be the next Friday, there's only 4 games in that time, right? They play tomorrow, Thursday, Sunday, and the following Thursday. So that's really the only saving grace out of this is the schedule maker has benefited the Oilers, that he could be out 2 weeks and only miss 4 games.
Yeah. And let's hope that the team can buy him enough time to properly rehab this injury. I heard your segment with our therapist, and I get it. No therapist and no medical guy pushes the player back too soon. But as he said, it's often the player that wants to get back too soon. And knowing McDavid, if this team's struggling, he's going to want to get back. So it would be handy. It would be good if this team could get a couple wins without him and not have that internal pressure that he's got to get back and he's got to help his team. That 3-day break after the Heritage Classic, that's a big 3 days, right? Maybe he'll be ready for the Thursday game.
Yeah, I would think so. Jack Campbell, I'm expecting to get the start tomorrow night. Stuart Skinner has the Grand Fear. That was a sick outfit, by the way. But I don't know if you saw his pads that he's wearing. Oh my goodness. Like that's an homage to Grant Fuhr. We'll have to get Fuhr's opinion tomorrow morning with Kevin Carius here on Sports 1440. But man, they looked unreal. And I talked to Stuart afterwards. You know what? He's actually bringing them to Minnesota to practice in them just so he can get a few more skates in, because he feels like usually for him with the pads, he likes 3 or 4 before he breaks them in a game. So, we'll see where he's at. Campbell has played a little bit better. Skinner, I thought, was good when he was in the net. Obviously, the one big gaffe was when he hesitated, and that to me, that play was a microcosm of the Oilers season where there's just a little bit too much hesitation at times in their game.
Well, and they're finding a new way to lose at this point, right? They were the better team in that game. They're the better team against Winnipeg, and they lose, basically on a goal that the goalie makes a bad decision and gives them a free goal, and you end up in overtime and you lose. And they were better than Vancouver in that 4-3 game when they outshot them 43-16, but they invented ways to give up goals that cost them, and they lost that game. And that's what happens to teams, right? When they're in one of these situations, they're in a funk and they're coming up with a new way to lose. Turn that thing around. Sometimes you find a new way to win every night. You're looking for a new hero every night. Like, that's an old cliche. They're finding a new GOAT every night right now. And, it doesn't go on forever. Like, you've watched enough, Jay. When you outplay teams, eventually you get rewarded. Your effort gets rewarded. They're waiting for that reward to come. Now you don't have McDavid. They got to work it. They need, listen, there's a lot of teams in the league that would kill to have the first 2 centermen be as high a pedigree as Draisaitl and RNH, right? That's a pretty good 1-2 punch up the middle, not bad at all. So you can't feel sorry for yourself because you don't have McDavid. It can't be a tails between your legs and, oh my God, how are we going to win? They have a good team. They should be able to survive this. They should be able to win some games without 97.
Yeah, no, it's totally valid, right? I would agree with you. And, you're going to need, all facets of the game. Yeah, it's not an excuse. Lots of teams go down with a guy. Obviously, hey, McDavid's different. He's the best player in the world. No question. They're going to miss him for sure. I don't expect him to go 4-0 or 3-0 or 2-0, whatever. Well, I guess 2-0 is possible because it's only 2 games. But, I'd be surprised if they ran the table. Not saying they can't do it, but I'd be a little bit surprised. The thing is, though, in 2020, I looked at the roster they had, and they went 3-2-1. Now, their penalty kill was perfect. They went 18 for 18 in the 6 games he was gone. Their goaltending at a .930 save percentage. So for a short period of time, you just need others to step up. And right now, that's going to be the big key, because you mentioned, they outshot Winnipeg 32-14 5-on-5 in that game. 32-14. They didn't give up a goal. Right. 5-on-5.
How do you lose that game?
Yeah.
How do you lose that game? You shouldn't lose that game. It's a derelict to lose that game, right? You play that well, you got to win that game. And, again, this is it can't go on forever. It's going to go one of 2 ways. You're either going to get rewarded for playing well and you're going to start to get some W's, or you're going to get so frustrated with losing, you're going to stop playing that good, and then you're in real trouble. So you're hoping it goes the positive way for the Oilers. They're playing fairly well in these games. They're not accruing any points. And I would point out to you that the Vegas Golden Knights have been playing without Pietrangelo, and they're 6-0. So if they can do it, you should be able to do it too.
It's a very good point, Speck. I like it. Quickly, Game 7, buddy. Who do you like tonight?
I hate Houston. They cheat.
I think a lot of people.
I've been cheering Texas the whole way.
Yeah. Everybody outside of Houston, I think, is the same boat, right? They're just like, cheaters. And they might not be cheating this year, but they still got the stink on them. They still got a lot of guys from that team who did cheat and knowingly cheated and then pretended to try to hide it. So, I'm sorry. Altuve used to be one of my favorite players. And then you see, he's running around the bases after a home run and he's got his covering up everything on his chest. Like, give me a break. So, yes,
I'm
come
with
on,
you,
Rangers. I'm going Rangers with you. I hope they pull off
Rangers.
the victory tonight. We will chat with you at Dumais, Spec. Have a good one.
All right, Jay.
That's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, our good friend, the goalie expert, Kevin Woodley, will join us. We will talk Campbell. We'll talk Skinner. Also, we'll talk Minnesota. How about this for the Wild? The Wild had a shutout in their opening game. A 41 save shutout, I should mention, by Gustafsson. In the 4 games since, they've given up 7, 5, and then the 1 victory, 2 goals against Montreal. What's up with the Wild? We'll find out next with Woodley on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some, at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. The best part of the RV lifestyle is that it's always on your terms. You decide where you go, when you go, how long you stay, and what you do when you get there. Freedom to make things possible is what I love most about this business. Right in the middle of the whole COVID thing, my wife Deanna and I had our 20th anniversary. Well, a big party was out of the question, right, Bob?
Not possible, Rick.
But one thing made all the difference. Our camping trailer out near Seba Beach. It's a very mature campsite, heavily wooded, lots of privacy, full hookups. So what did we do? Had our own party. Hired a caterer, decorations, dinner, candlelight, campfire. 20 years. That's a long time to put up with me. And our trailer? Well, I have to confess, it's a really nice one. Bought it used.
No surprise there, Rick.
Freedom means possibilities, and that's what life is all about. So thanks, Deanna. Here's to the next 20 years.
And that's No Bull. NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. There's something going on every day at OTR. On Monday, Bingo Tunes, Taco Tuesday, karaoke on Wednesday, Salsa Night Thursday, and live music every weekend on the OTR stage with DJ Kenny K. On the Rocks, Jasper Ave in 118th.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
526. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on a Monday afternoon. Drive safe. Please get your lights on. It's very simple. When you see your light switch on the left side of your steering wheel, you turn it. There's that words that say auto. If you just turn the knob to auto, then your lights are on all the time. And it's your rear lights. Make it safer for everybody. Okay. We're into the winter season now. Drive safe. Makes it better for everybody. We all want you to get home safe. You want to watch Game 7? Maybe you're watching Monday Night Football. Maybe you're going to go join the Con Man. Con, which brew house you at tonight, big fella?
Oh, we're heading to North Edmonton. 127th and 97th. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Rocking at the old brew house there on 197th. So that are 97th and 127th. It's a good location. I like it. So stop by, say the con man. Trust me, you might have to buy him a beer. His Chargers lost again. Oh, my goodness. Herbert, feel free to make a throw when it matters. That's all I'll say after that game. Make a throw when it matters. Twice he missed wide open guys that cost him touchdowns.
Tanking for Caleb, but not for Caleb. Sorry, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's got to go get himself a nice young weapon. So tanking for Marvin.
No, I don't care who the weapon is. If you can't throw it to him, it doesn't matter.
Marvin will catch it.
Keenan Allen right now is unreal. Playing great.
He is. He's
with the
playing,
ball in his hands.
Playing good ball right now.
Yeah, don't overthrow him. We need to have a few more touchdowns. Now, let's go in the crease, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated, and they are hiring. Go to nextgentransportation.com. As we welcome in our good friend from NHL.com and In Goal magazine, Kevin Woodley joins us once again. Woodley, how are you, my man?
I'm good. Yourself?
Hey, I'm excellent. First of all, I want to get your thoughts as a goalie guy. What did you think of Stuart Skinner's homage to Grant Fuhr and his pad blocker setup that he displayed today?
Well, you got 20 minutes, do the whole segment on this. That's how good it was. I love this. And, from a distance, it's hard to tell. It looks like they're straps, the old Fuhr leather straps across the face of the pad. But of course, it's all just digitally printed graphics. And, credit where it's due. Bauer sort of started this trend with DigiPrint graphics. And now we've got CCM, which Skinner wears in the all-out graphic design, which should soon be available to those of us in the sort of the commoners, the retail world. But the NHLers are going to show it off first. And to me, this is a great thing. There are a lot of people that are like, no, you got to do it cut and sew and just like the originals. But the reality is those old leather straps, leather straps with metal buckles that goalies used to wear, that was a big part of why the pads were so much heavier than they are today. And so removing that in favor of Velcro, which most modern pads have, that's a big part of the cutting weight. So I love that we can digitally print a graphic that, to me, it's all about from a distance, what the fan sees. And what the fan sees, hey, does it look exactly like what Grant wore? No. But it's pretty damn close. And from a distance, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference. And especially that blocker, to me, that was sweet. So obviously says CCM on it, not the old DRs that Grant used to wear, but that's getting 2 thumbs up all the way, not just from me, but from the entire In Goal magazine community.
All right. I like it. Now, the play of Campbell and Skinner. And by the way, the NHL Edge numbers came out today. And, they've got high danger, and then they got mid-range and long-range shots. And mid-range don't necessarily mean mid-range high danger. They're just mid-range shot. And I know you've tracked goalie numbers for a long time with ClearSight Analytics. From what your early assessment is, how do those numbers compare to what you've had or seen and been given?
Well, let's put it this way. I don't want to poo-poo it too much because context is important, right? And they are giving us additional layers of context that weren't there before in terms of the distances. I did find it interesting that they categorized everything tight as high danger as opposed to tight distance. But then in medium, I don't know if this is on purpose or just a slip. Instead of being medium danger, it's mid-range, as you mentioned. And then the stuff from further out is long range instead of low danger. And I guess it's probably actually a good thing they said that, because frankly, a lot of the stuff that they have charted as mid-range, I would say is actually low danger, a lot of it. But hey, they're giving us the context of where shots are going in on goalies. I like the map they've created. You can get something out of that. So for example, look for the trend of Stuart Skinner in middle of the ice, right? We've talked about how he's not going to be a goalie who is, up at the top of his crease for the most part. He plays more of a 2/3 to half ice depth in his crease. And that's been problematic at times with deflections, including the overtime winner against Winnipeg, where we saw him sort of retreat. And rather than be able to sort of be tight to that tip, he's giving up too much space there. But you can see that in the shot locations as long as they're tracked accurately. And so that's good context. But I would argue in terms of actually evaluating goaltenders relative to what we would expect, what creates good offense in today's NHL, it just comes up short. It's not enough information. Even the quote unquote high danger, yes, the closer to the net, the more likely you are to score a goal. And we see that in the historical shooting percentages. But the reality is if that's a straight line and you're shooting at me from the top of the crease and I'm in position and set, like it's like Christian Laettner missing putbacks so he can pad his rebound stats, right? You can bang away all you want. It's not going through me, especially as an NHL goaltender. And so that same shot location with a lateral pass or broken play, low slot line pass through the middle or a broken play off a leg that forces a goalie to go east-west, the danger on that shoots up like 3 times. I think I was looking at sort of some of the shot charts that they had league wide, and to be honest, was sort of a little alarmed by the numbers. Like they have that at 18%. Well, you add a cross ice pass, and it's well over 40 in terms of that, that middle slot, not the crease, but just above it.
Yeah.
When I look at some of the shooting percentage, 11% from behind the net. I sure as heck hope not that pucks shot from below the goal line are going in 11% of the time. So I've got some questions. At the end of the day, though, does it add enough context? There's no perfect numbers. The more context we can add, the better. Private companies, and it's not just Clearsight, although I like that they have that lateral component. As a goaltender, you understand having to go from one side to the other is one of the most dangerous chances we can create, one of the toughest ones for us as goaltenders to handle. And they seem to be the only ones that are measuring that. But there's other companies like Sports Logic that measure passes into the slot and the inner slot and things like that. They all have additional layers of context that the NHL site is still lacking. But in terms of giving us something we can at least look at and add some context, right? Like it's better than raw save percentage. So it takes a step. It's just, in my mind, not a big enough step. I'd love to see more people get access to the kind of stuff I've got access to that really does not just chart what goaltenders are facing. That's obviously our focus, Jason. But, one of these days we're just going to have to do a forward show. And because you can flip the script on this, and Clearsight does. Who's generating the most dangerous chances, and I think that matters as much as anything.
Oh, 100%. I would agree wholeheartedly on that. I'd be all over that. We could do a whole show on that. 100%. Right now, just based on all the numbers I see everywhere, Jack Campbell has had a more consistent start to the season than Stuart Skinner in Edmonton. And I think is rightfully so the guy to start there. But you're not going to throw Skinner out with the bathwater, as they say. But he's going to have to earn his time back in. I thought Winnipeg was a good step for him, excluding the hesitation on the shorthanded goal, because he went to go, because that's where my seats are. He went to go, then he stopped, and then he finally went. And if he just trusted his natural instinct, he beats him by 3 strides, and it's really probably a nothing play. And it's kind of symbolic of the Oilers. I think as a team, they've had that slight hesitation in their game, and it's cost them.
Well, and you're right. The hesitation was what killed him there on that one. And because we've seen when he is decisive, he's a good puck handler, right?
Yes.
Like he's good at it, right? But it's that old Top Gun line, man. If you think out there, you're dead. And there was that moment where he was caught thinking. And, it's interesting. I see a little bit of that in his game. Even the OT winner, again, it's Mark Scheifele in alone in 3-on-3. So do you blame him? No. But I found it, and I don't know that it's necessarily fair, but because Scheifele was same side as the pass, like it didn't actually cross the middle of the ice, it actually got categorized as a low percentage chance. And like, to me, that's a tougher chance than a low.
Yes.
Like the math says it's a low. I look at it and I'm like, I got some questions there. But again, if you watch as that puck comes around and starts to come downhill, and hey, okay, it's downhill, so you might want to retreat with it a little bit. It's that backwards flow that he has there rather than holding his ground that sort of pulls him away from the tip point and puts him deeper in the net. And so those are reads that maybe there's a little hesitation in that as well right now. And I thought it was interesting. I wanted to go back and look at some of the numbers the Oilers had defensively. We've got a larger sample size. Is it large enough? No, but it's larger than when you and I talked last week. And I'd had that question about how they were defending, defensive zone coverage, why switch it up when you were so good as a team last year? And I thought it was really interesting, Jason, as I sort of just switched my screens in front of me. The problems aren't in the end zone. Expected goals against in terms of high danger chances, they're second in the league in 5-on-5 D zone play. Penalty kills lacking, 22nd. But it's off the rush that's killing them right now. And they're 31st in the National Hockey League in terms of the amount of high danger chances, the expected goals based on high danger chances that they're giving up right now. And so you're seeing that reflected a little bit in some of the results. And interesting to me, it would be one thing if you were trading chances, Jason, but what they're generating off the rush ranks 20th in expected. Again, they're 7th in zone, but off the rush, they're not generating near as much as they're giving up. And then to go back to Skinner, I agree that game was a step. What's killed him statistically, and Jack Campbell, by the way, is like plus 1.3%. Flirting with sort of like, top 20, outside the edge of the top 20. And there's some guys with some big numbers there in smaller samples. So he's been just fine. But it's the low and mids that are killing Stewart right now. And when I look at the mid percentage ones that are going in on him, the problems sort of are consistent. That first game, the deflections, we saw the deflection. I talked about being a low against Winnipeg, whether we agree with it being a low or not, it's a deflection. And then layered screens. And when I look at layered screens, those are ones that are a little tougher to account for, in terms of statistically, but ClearSight does. And those are sort of, they look like a shot from distance.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you've got multiple players between you and the puck, they become more difficult. They go from a long range, to quote NHL's new stats, to a mid percentage chance. And what I'm seeing there is not just all on the goaltenders, not just all on Skinner in particular. The rules are, unless the Oilers have completely flipped the script on what every other team is doing in terms of what lane the goalie has and what lane that flexing defenseman or flexing forward has, Skinner's in the right lanes on a lot of these. His players aren't. They're taking his eyes away in the lane he's supposed to be, short side more often than not, almost exclusively. And when they are in the correct lane and he's short side, if he doesn't get a good look at it and he's defaulting down, they're in the middle lane and not taking away those shots. So you got some guys that need to eat a few more pucks when they're actually in the lane. And those are the two chances that are killing him statistically right now, layered screens and deflections. And so I'm with you. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think those are things that will clean up as the Reeds become more confident behind that team. And you just hope that, the mistake he made that costs them a chance to win that game in regulation the other night doesn't get into his head. And I think he's been around Mike Smith enough to know that, hesitation kills you. Just go get it the next time.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine, NHL.com, joins us talking goaltending. Minnesota, Gustafsson stands on his head the first night, 41 save shutout. So it wasn't like he had great defense in front of him. In the 4 games since, the Wild have given up 21 goals, a 7 spot, a 5 to Columbus, where they gave up 54 shots. Your goalie gets 5 goals against and still has above 900 save percentage. So it's not necessarily on the goaltending per se, but I look at it. Minnesota's got a rookie blue liner in their third pair. They got a rookie blue liner in their top pair, and they got, another young guy, a sophomore in Addison in their second pair. They really missed Spurgeon. Now they got Goligoski out. Where have they been susceptible defensively here that the Oilers can try to exploit?
Okay, well, first of all, Gustafsson's been just fine. Adjusted save percentage is right there, flirting with the top 10. Linus Ullmark, we're talking about, is he better than last year? I think his raw numbers are a 962. Gustafsson's actually got a slightly better adjusted save percentage. The problem is his expected save percentage is 863, which speaks to the problems you're referring to in terms of how they're defending. And truthfully, Jason, everything. Like, how do you score against this team? What if I told you they were 31st in expected goals 5-on-5 overall, 31st in defensive zone coverage in terms of the shots they give up off of it, and 31st in terms of expected goals against on the penalty kill? These are all high danger chances. That's where I focus, because that's where most of the scoring comes from. Like, this team is just bleeding chances. And you talked about what they've got on the back end. Certainly that's a part of it. But they have been, under the current coaching staff, a team that at times is a little slow to sort of find their defensive identity as a group. And so it's interesting, because when you have changes on the back end or inexperience on the back end, you'd expect the forwards to do a better job of picking up for it or helping out, right? We know that defense doesn't exist strictly by the play of defensemen. It's 5-man unit and how you interact together. And that just hasn't been there for this team. And it's interesting, I've been reading some stuff out of Mini that has been a problem at starts of seasons for this team. But man, like, to this degree, like second last in the league in most defensive categories, that's troubling. And as good as Gustafsson is and still has been this season, that's a really big ask if it continues. And the kind of thing where, if it keeps up, there is no way to outplay an environment that bad for long. So if you're the Minnesota Wild, you better hope you get it together, because what will happen is Gustafsson's ability to trust those reads will start to disintegrate as nobody else is making the seam reads. And pretty soon you'll have him out there guessing. Hasn't happened yet, but man, if he were to start fading, you'd really imagine the crooked numbers they're putting up defensively, and he's flirting with the top 10 in the National Hockey League in adjusted save percentage. If he falls off, man, it's going to be sevens every night there, the way they're defending right now.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. The guy has a 393 goals against, but he has a 906 save percentage. He's facing tons of shots and tons of chances, giving up goals. But as you mentioned, when you're 31st expected goals against and the PK expected goals against 5-on-5, it's not good. Lastly, quickly to Calgary, Dan Vladar. Wolf, everybody's really high on him. Vladar's numbers early on in Calgary are not good at all. What do you make of that, and what do you think is going to happen there?
Fully understood the reason behind it. Wasn't totally surprised by it. We'd talked about it on the In Goal Radio podcast as much as everybody believes, including probably Dustin Wolf himself, that he is ready to be in the National Hockey League. It made sense from an asset management standpoint, right? Like, you were worried about losing Dan Vladar for nothing. He has to clear waivers. Dustin Wolf doesn't. So you send Wolf down, you keep all three. And the sort of second part of that is, it's not just if they had lost Vladar, okay, we pull up Wolf, but it's what it does to the depth chart behind that. Because now you've just got Oscar Dansk as an insurance policy. You don't really have anything else that's ready for the NHL. And Dansk, that's not discrediting him at all. I happen to be a fan of his game. But, in an era where you need 3 and 4, the risk of losing Dan Vladar was that it only left you with 2 and 3, I guess, in Dansk, but just not enough depth, right? So it made sense from an asset management standpoint. But as Vladar struggles in the early going, it gets harder and harder to justify for a team that's coming off a 1-3-1 road trip. Markstrom, again, we talk about adjusted numbers. He's been just fine, but Vladar's on the opposite end of that, right? Like, it has not been a good start. And I think what worries you a little bit is, it's some of the reads, and he's late on plays, and he's going into positions awkwardly. And they're not just the kind of goals that have you sort of like, hey, we can't give that up, but they're going in a manner that, I'm not saying this is happening, but if it continues, they're the kind of looks that can cause a team to lose a little faith in a guy. And that's got to be tough for Vladar, especially knowing that he's got Dustin Wolf down there. I'm curious to see which way they go, because if he doesn't pick up soon, and they've clearly recognized, because they've given him starts, the need to sort of play him and not run Markstrom into the ground, because he does tend to wear out, how much longer before you can say, like, we need to give our best chance to win, and our best chance to win is the 2-time American Hockey League goaltender of the year. And I don't know, obviously they're not there yet because they haven't made a move, but I can't think that they're that many starts away from it, Jason. And that's where asset management is really easy to say. And we're seeing a lot of teams right now, carrying 3 goalies. But if you're the Flames, how much longer can you continue to play a guy who, they played pretty well in front of him. He's got an expected save percentage in .922, but he ranks 49th in the NHL with a minus 3.8 adjusted save percentage. So tough start for him. He's capable of bouncing back. We've seen it in the past, but if he doesn't, you got to wonder, for a team with playoff aspirations, how much longer they can keep Dustin Wolf in the minor leagues.
Kev, always great to catch up with you, man. Have an awesome week. We'll talk more goaltenders with you next Monday. It'll be after the Heritage Classic, so we'll have some thoughts on that. In another week, we'll see who goes up or down in between the pipes.
I will leave you with one quick thought. This is how good Stuart Skinner's Heritage Classic pads are. I should have mentioned this off the top. There is another goalie involved in that game that was just going to go plain one color. But once he saw a mock-up of Stuart Skinner's, he knew he had to raise the game and ordered another set. That's how impressive that would be Jacob Markstrom. And if you look closely, the stripe set actually has a knit pattern, but you have to see that up close because he was originally just going to go all red. But when he saw what was possible, he decided to upgrade.
All right. Good to know. Kev, great for the insight, buddy. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Thanks, guys.
It's Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca and Sports 1440 and live on Orders Nation YouTube.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sports book, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet.
official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Are you getting a share of the profits from your bank? Each year, Vision Credit Union returns about 75% of our credit union profits to our members through profit shares and cash dividends. Last year, our profit share payout was $14.25 million. That's a big cash infusion for our members and for rural Alberta communities. It's time you got your share of the profits. Find out how at whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, as well as on Oilers Nation YouTube here on Sports 1440. And we're going to hear from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins now, brought to you by Ewell. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, of course. Hey, first of all, he just addressed, of course, the major loss of Connor McDavid.
Big part of our team and our leader, so we're gonna have to pick it up for him. I thought the way we played last game was better, full 60, and just the way that we played with the pace and everybody playing together, that's not going to change tomorrow. We got to keep that going, and it doesn't really matter who's in the lineup. You got to pick up the pieces and then go from there.
Power play with Vander sliding in. It looks like anyway with the Vander sliding in. How does that change, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it changes the complexion when you lose a guy like Connor, who can just make so much happen. 5-on-5 or power play, but I mean, obviously, Kaner knows what he's doing. Got a great shot. Try to find him in some good spots, and I think the important thing is probably shoot the puck a little bit more right now, and just get those pucks back, win those little battles, and play road hockey from there.
It seems like such an innocuous play where he got hurt. Did you guys know someone was up on the bench? Obviously, you figured it out when he wasn't out there.
Well, I mean, I think when he came off, he just he didn't say much. Obviously, he was called over our trainer and talked to him about it, and then we figured it out when he didn't go back out there, especially in overtime. So I think he's in okay spirits. Obviously, you never want to lose anybody for any period of time, but hopefully it's not too long. And like I said before, we're going to pick up the pieces for him here.
At times you've been able to outscore your mistakes, but with Connor out of the lineup, cutting back those individual kind of costly mistakes, does that even become more of a focus? I know you're trying to cut those back already, but maybe even more so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we got to do no matter what, no matter who's in the lineup. But yeah, I mean, we just got to. It's the kind of individual little plays here and there that have we've given up a few, and it's kind of cost us. So it's something that obviously it's early in the season. We're going to work through that and get better from it. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's without a guy like that who creates so much offense. Yeah, it probably is a little bit more important now.
It's only 5 games, Ryan, but offense is your guys' calling card. It's the biggest strength of your game, and you've only scored more than 4 once this year. Have you seen anything? Is it just bad luck? What's been lacking from the overall group's offense through 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that we talked about especially after the first game, was putting the puck from the point a little bit more. And I thought the D-men had been doing a really good job of that last few games. And it comes down to the forwards getting to the net and getting those second, third opportunities and battling away. And I think last game we did a good job of that. We just couldn't find any. So it's continuing to work on that. It's finding each other, building that chemistry again. And I think we're a confident team that we can get back to our offensive ways.
You remember whatever it was 4 or 5 years ago when Connor missed 6 games, and your penalty kill was actually 100% in those 6 games, right? Like there's other elements. You guys went 3-2-1. You played really good. Your goaltending was good. When you lose your best player, it's fairly accurate to say everybody has to augment in all different areas, and it's not just offense.
I mean, I think sometimes when you lose a guy like that, everybody understands that how big of a piece he is for this team. So you have to pick up the slack. You got to work a little bit harder here and there. And yeah, I mean, it's our PK, I think, is getting better. We still want to continue to improve. And defensively, I think we're also getting better. I think our defensive zone coverage, our neutral zone has all looked pretty solid. It's just little things here and there, like little breakdowns that have been costing us. So something that we're gonna have to clean up. And against this Minnesota team, it's going to be a case of sticking with it. They're going to play kind of like Philly does, in your face, and not much space, not much time, and it's a full 60. You really got to stick with it, and I think it'll be a good test for us. It'll be a good challenge, and losing Connor even more so.
So there you go, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Like what I said, you know what? He's liked a lot of their game, but it's the self-inflicted wounds have really hurt them. So we'll see. The good news, how about this? The Minnesota Wild, as Kevin Woodley outlined, 31st in chances against 5-on-5, 31st in high danger chances against on the penalty kill. Edmonton's going to get their chances. They're going to have to bury them. Part of scoring is got to bear down and then eliminate the glaring areas themselves. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday evening. Enjoy the Game 7, Rangers-Astros. Go Rangers. Also, McCaffrey is officially active for the 49ers. And, of course, the lone game in the NHL. We'll have Fox Sports from 9 until 7 a.m. and then the Kevin Carey Show with Grant Fear. On behalf of Declan Cougar, Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Sports Update brought to you by Fountain Tire. And, hey, snowy outside. Get your winter tires on now. It's the temperature change that matters more than the snow. But if you're driving around today, you know how important it is. Book your tire service today at fountaintire.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And one last time from us, it's Declan Kruger with your Sports 1440 update on behalf of Connor Halley. MLB scores, bottom of the 8th. It's the Diamondbacks up 5-1 on the Phillies in the NLCS. And the ALCS, Rangers and Astros set to go in about 10 minutes here. NHL action, Canadians and Sabres tied at 1, still in the first intermission. American Hockey League's Bakersfield Condors have signed forward Sam Gagner to a 1-year deal. Gagner had double hip surgery in March, ending his 22-23 early, and signed the PTO with the Oilers this past summer. Week 7 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the Vikings host the 49ers. Kickoff is at 6:15, and you can watch that one with Connor Halley at the North Edmonton Canadian Brewhouse for your chance to qualify for a trip to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. NBA news is Giannis Antetokounmpo has signed a 3-year, $186 million extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's going to do it for us today. It'll be Fox Sports Radio coming to you at 9 p.m. and Carius and Douglas back first thing in the morning, 7 a.m. I'm Declan Kruger. Good night.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely